welcome. So it's doing that thing again. Oh my gosh. So I think I am going to see what they, let's see. It's so crazy. Do you guys remember when this happened last time? Like any other time, it would let me change the orientation and it's not letting me. Like it's doing this weird thing again. So when this happens, I take it that we're meant to go into podcast mode, but let me just check with Spirit. Do we want to go to podcast mode? Do you want me to change the... See, I don't know. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. So why is it locked though? That's so weird. Do you want me to start over? Is it in their greatest high school for me to start over? Do you want to leave it in this weird fucking thing? Like, hi. I don't know why it's doing that. And I was just talking to Spirit to see if they wanted me to go into podcast mode. You know, they've had us do that before. So I'm trying to see, do you want me to stop it and start? Is it our greatest high school to stop it and start over? Do you want us to go into podcast mode? Okay, so I guess we're going into podcast mode. I'm like, my whole body's shaking right now and I don't really understand what's happening. So this only happened one other time before, but the energy is so intense. And when the energy is really intense, I just like take it for what it is. Hi, welcome. You can, I can't see you by the way, so you can join or not join. So I was just mentioning that once in a while that this does this weird thing like this, where it like won't, it like the screen is locked. I just asked Spirit if they wanted me to start over and they said no. And it's so funny because there's a retouch mode and then it says hide live video. I'm going to see. Okay. Is that what we want? Do we want to hide the live video? Do you want it to stay in this like weird thing? Do you want, is it in the tribe's greatest and highest good for me to start over? And do a brand new live stream? Okay, do you want me to leave it the way it is? So I'm getting a really weird fucking energy, an energy I haven't used or... So Saturn is retrograde right now. Actually, it's like in the midst of going retrograde. So Saturn is ruled by structure, purpose, boundaries, identity, challenges, perceived limitations, authority figures, commitment, responsibility, hard work. It's actually the most feared and revered. It's the discipline and karma. And actually Spirit had me write this down too. That Saturn is known as the Lord of Karma. So I don't know what the fuck. It's so crazy. There's so much happening right now. I don't even know where to begin. So welcome. Thank you for being here. Yeah. I am Tallulah Kelly. I'm the magical medium, and this is very interesting. So I am going to check in one more time. Spirit, maybe they don't like the way I have things set up. Sorry if that's a little loud. Sometimes it's because they just don't like something I'm doing, but I don't understand, and I'm like trying to figure out what they want. So I'm going to take a moment. Mercury's in shadow going into retrograde in a few days. There's just some intense fucking energy going around right now. Okay. I'm going to put Isis there for a second. I'm going to put Grandma here for a second. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to burn some lavender to get the energy to chill the fuck out. So there is a really dark force that's in here right now. So I am going to I call upon my higher self and your higher self and our spirit guides and our animal guides. I call upon our protectors, the angels and archangels. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for protecting this container and these beautiful souls. It's almost as if, because we're on the dark side of the moon, which is shadow energy, we are like right now. So just so you know what's going on, right now, Pluto's in retrograde. Neptune is in retrograde. Saturn just went in is going into retrograde as we speak, and or maybe it is. I don't know the degrees. And then in a few days, Mercury's going retrograde. So you know, retrogrades are all about reflection and delays and setbacks and introspection. So maybe this was like, oh, when I looked down, it was like 555, like literally 555, which is so crazy because I was watching something recently from this other reader, and they were talking about like, they're like, you know, those moments where something suspends in time for like, it seems like forever. And that's what it felt like for me. When I saw that, I literally saw like it was as if it was more than 1 second that the 555 was there. So fives are about change and transformation. Today is a 13 day, which is the number of the divine feminine of the goddess. And when you add it together, it's the number 4. But fours are all about stability and laying a good, strong foundation. So very interesting. So welcome. If you were here, and I don't know which Sacred Sunday it was, which episode. We're on episode 10. Today is episode 10, Messages from the Divine Feminine. And it's really interesting that I've been having these push-pull energies. I don't know if you guys are feeling this, but it's almost as if the shadow right now that's running amok, that's, you know, misbehaving and all these things. It's like, you know, lately, unfortunately, but fortunately, I guess, we have been getting a lot more political and world topics in our sessions because it's fucking happening. You can't look away. You can't, it's not just about us. We're a collective. We co-created this fucking mess, you know, so we have to co-create to make a better world, you know. We all have fame and shame and fault and, you know what I mean, prosperity in our lineage in some way, shape, or form. The wind was going crazy. The traffic was going crazy. Notice all of a sudden everything died down. When I looked down, it was 8:04, and then it turned to 8:05. And 8:04 is 12, which is also number 3, and 8:05 would be 13, which I just said is a 4. So angel numbers. If you're new here, welcome. If you are coming back, welcome back. And we are talking about numbers and numerology. We're talking about the planets today, the divine feminine energy, the force of the healing of the divine feminine energy. But man, we needed that break for a second because the energy is fucking chaotic. So right before this started, Spirit, I was pulled to look at this thing with the sitting American president. And it was a video clip from him signing his ridiculous bill. And the smugness, the sheer smugness and like so fucking proud of themselves moment was like, it was just, at first I was disgusted because I was just like, dude, how can you feel good about what you just did? Like what part of you makes you feel good about what you just did? Like, really? This is your solution? This isn't a solution. This is like an easy way out for, you know, this is your easy way of disseminating and destroying something that you actually, and your fucking ancestors and your quote unquote people, your community co-created. You co-created this fucking poverty. You co-created this lower level consciousness energy, you know, and now you want to just fucking walk away. You want us to handle it and deal with it. You want us to fix it. It's like, okay. So all I can tell you is Saturn's the Lord of Karma. So just fucking breathe, Keep your energy high, keep your vibration high. Feel it, feel it, feel it. Feel it when it comes in, let it go when it comes out. You know what I mean? Literally, I just saw 1010 because we're at the fucking end. We're at the end. We're in number 9. You know, the other thing that's really interesting, I want to bring this out. Where is it? I just saw it. Oh, there it is. So Pluto is the planet of life, death, and rebirth cycles. It's a regenerative energy force. And it's the unconscious. So Pluto went retrograde in May and it'll be there until October. And Neptune went retrograde just the 4th of July, ironically, and is going to be there till December. So, you know, Neptune is all about dreams, intuition, spirituality, the invisible realms, you know, ideas, the mystical. It's also truth versus illusion. So we are going to experience and see so many changes. And not to mention that in real time, it's July 13th, 2025, which is also, if you add it together, number 11, which is angel number. Mercury's going retrograde in a few days. We've got the third quarter moon on the 17th. And then on the 22nd, Leo's coming in. Then we have the new moon in Leo on the 24th. And then we've got the Lionsgate portal on the 26th. Chiron goes retrograde on the 30th of July. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I could just keep going on and on and on and on. So it's like, this is all fucking ordained, man. This is that kind of stuff that, like, I was saying in, I'll put a link, or I think Spirit had me put a link to my latest podcast, the Podcast Prophet, because we spoke about that in there, you know, just about like all the shit that's fucking going down, you know, all the things that people don't want to look at, all the truth, all the, you know, man, I'll tell you what, since I've been going live, I haven't had a fucking session go this hot in a while. Meaning, like, I have had people, I lost count. I mean, there have been so many people coming on, going off, coming on, going off, coming on, going off, coming on, going off. Like, it's been wild as fuck. And I can tell that, you know, because sometimes they don't have me put hashtags or like, you know, Spirit and I always co-create everything I do. So, you know, the hashtags they have me use always have a purpose. And they had me do a shorts for this, you know, to let people know I was going live. So that kind of took off. So, you know, it's interesting what's happening right now. 1313, woo, yes, of course. When I looked down, it was 1313. So drink some water, strap in. We got a lot to fucking talk about. Let's hear from the divine feminine energy. And actually, before we do, I'm going to do a little healing. I feel like we need a little healing here. All right. I invoke the power of the healing energies of the universe into my mind, body, soul, auric field. I also ask that you balance and clear my chakras and auric field of that which no longer serves my greatest and highest good. I also call upon the higher selves of all those who will be involved in this message, in this connection, whether through the shorts or through this episode. I call upon our higher selves to receive the healing energy from the universe. I call upon the Reiki energy, the heat, the fire, the beautiful warm energy, and I bring it to you with grace and gratitude. I call upon, the portal is open for Sacred Sunday, episode 10, and I call upon all the healing energies of the universe. I call upon the 9, the gods, the goddesses, our benevolent creator, and all those who wish to be here in any capacity, in any way. If you are meant to be here, the door is open for you. But remember that this portal is divinely protected. Archangel Michael, thank you. With grace and gratitude and glory, we give it all to you. Thank you for protecting us. Thank you to your mighty band of archangel warriors that always keep us safe and look out for us. Thank you, Spirit, for aligning our energies today and bringing in the healing energy. May we all be blessed, all involved, from the Creator, down to all of every microorganism. I call upon Gaia, the earth healing energy, divine feminine energy. I call upon the divine feminine energy. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you for aligning and clearing our chakras and auric field of that which no longer serves our greatest and highest good. Thank you, Spirit. We call upon the Cancer energy, water, to wash away all that which no longer serves our greatest and highest good. As above, so below, we call upon the healing energies of all the energies and entities of north, south, east, and west. Thank you for the love, the protection, the guidance, the grounding, the healing, the communication, the connection. Thank you, crystalline grid. Thank you to the earth energy. Thank you to the divine feminine number 13. Blessed be the witches, the healers, and the deep down believers in magic. This portal is contained with so much light and so much love and so much protection. The shadow is welcome here, but it will not rule here. Thank you. Thank you for understanding. With love and grace and gratitude, we open our heart chakra. Oh, yes. Yeah, we rub that energy out. We get it 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 out. Divine feminine energy. 1639, another number that hung there. So work with that number as well. 1639. Divine angel number. Could be a number, it could be your birthday, it could be your age, combined together, however it's meant to be for you. There's a deep grounding energy happening here today. We're 17 minutes in. Okay, let's see what the cards have to say. Also, Spirit wants me to, all you have to say is I accept this healing, by the way, with grace and gratitude, and it will come your way. We are in the 6th moon phase. We are in the waning gibbous. We just had the full moon in Capricorn. We're in the waning gibbous, which is about reflect and release. I also put a link in the description box for the latest full moon reading. There was a collective reading, and then there was also a picker reading. So great messages in there. Also, I'm getting a little scratch on the back of my neck, 1747. My eyes were closed and they had me open my eyes and I saw 1747. Again, another angel number. Could be numbers that mean something to you. 17 has been a big number for our tribe. 47 is also the number 11. 17 is the number 8. I mean, there's just so many things that are coming through. Oh my gosh. So the first one that wants to speak with us is Sarada Devi, the Divine Mother. Unconditional love exists within me. The presence of love is the absence of judgment. I have a feeling that they want us to go into the, let me ask Spirit. But you know, it's interesting that the way it's interrupting too. It's almost like it's like trying to tell us something. It's trying to show us something. Spirit, is it time? Do we want to go into darkness of, do you want to keep the picture? Because it doesn't really look like her. She looks all elongated, you know? Do you want us to start a brand new video? Okay. Do we want to click off the visual? Okay, we're clicking off the visual. Here we go. Okay, so new 1919. It was 1918 when I looked, and then 1919. So 1918 literally felt like a year, and 1919 felt like an angel number, but could be a year. But then I saw 1925 too. So you know, a lot of past life stuff is coming up. You know, which one was I looking at? Let me see. Oh yeah, so interesting. We were just talking about Saturn, because Saturn is, you know, just went retrograde today. And Saturn is all about past lives and restrictions. It's about duty, discipline, responsibilities. And like we said, is the Lord of Karma. Um, so I'm going to ask Spirit. So the Divine Mother, since I can put this anywhere I want. Okay, so let me put this. Okay. They may have me turn that on. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. So unconditional loves. Okay, so I feel like what this um beautiful Divine Mother energy is trying to tell us, because this really was like Sacred Sunday. Like I felt it in such a way. Like I was so excited to do this. I can't even tell you. So that's why the fact that the beginning of it was so disruptive felt like a tower card or something like moment, but it was cool too because I could feel the fucking shadow. I can feel the darkness and the shadow like pushing back, and I can feel like the Divine Mother energy and the Divine Feminine was like, "No. Like stop." I mean, I feel like they're trying to say, they want us to come at it with love. Always come at every situation with as much love and gentleness in your heart as possible. But when you need to push back, you need to push back. And I just got this really awesome memory of when I was working on this one farm, and I was working with a 17 hand horse. It was the first horse I ever like had my first real true, even though I loved horses my whole life, would go and pet them, feed them and all that. This was the first time I actually worked with such a large animal like that. One on one, like behind the, you know what I mean? Behind the fence, inside the fence. And long story short, when I was working with them, there was a moment and there was a time where um, every time I would start to feel really comfortable with them or familiar, or would get in their space and not like respect them, they would fucking like ring my bell. Like they would hit me. Like, I mean, they did so much stuff to me. And it's only because I knew them after that happened that I know that they were literally like, put there to be my mentor and my teacher. And I mean, their name was Sequoia, which when you think of a sequoia tree, they're so powerful and strong and like, deeply rooted kind of energy. There's 1,000-year-old sequoia tree on the Olympic Peninsula where I live. And I'll tell you, when I saw it for the first time, I literally started crying. I mean, I went, oh, but I mean, you just can't. Um, some, or actually, was that a Sitka spruce? Anyway, I digress. But either way, it was like that though, that kind of like, so there was a moment where my trainer was like, I feel like you can do this on your own. And I was like, no, I'm not comfortable yet. I'm not comfortable yet. And they're like, you can do this. You can do this. So they'd give me these small tasks. And then I started to build my confidence until one day a storm started to roll in, and she's like, go get Sequoia. I got to get it was like 120 acres or something, the farm. And there was a lot of animals. And she was like, I need your help. Like, I need you to help me. You need to, go get Sequoia. And I was like, I can't get Sequoia by myself. And they're like, yes, you can. They're like, I need to go do this or that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And long story short, Sequoia, they didn't want to come out of the field. I was trying to get them into the barn. They didn't want to come in. And I like about shit my pants. Like seriously, I was so fucking scared because they were going, and they were like bucking up on their back legs, and it was like a whole production kind of thing, like you'd see in like a movie. And I saw like that they wouldn't get through the gate, and then she came back around and she goes, take charge, you are in charge, you need to fucking let them know that you're in charge. And I was like, no. And long story short, she said, push him back on the gate, push him back, push him back, push him back. And so I started like pushing, and then he started kicking, and I was like, he's gonna fucking kill me, he's gonna kick me in the face. And she goes, you need to do this now. And I just was like, Sequoia, I'm like, get back. And I just like went, and then I pushed the gate and I pushed him, and it fucking worked. And when I got him in there and I like locked the gate, both of them were like, it was almost like Sequoia just got really calm. It was like they all knew what was going on, They were like my spiritual teachers. They knew exactly what I needed, but I needed to believe in myself. I needed to believe. I needed to prove to spirit and to myself that I had to trust that I wasn't going to get kicked. I needed to trust that like Sequoia's health and well-being was more important. Sequoia, because they were a 17 hand, means that like if you put your hands on top of each other, that's like how tall they are. So it's like, an average horse is between like, I don't know, 11 and maybe 13. But anything above 15 is a pretty big fucking horse. 17 is really big. So I'm almost 5'3". So imagine, like, and I'm wearing like, boots, but like not, you know what I mean? I'm not like wearing heels. So it was it was so challenging. But afterwards, I realized like why that took place and why that happened. It's because I had to put my money where my mouth was. I kept training and training and training, but you can train all day fucking long, but you have to actually apply your gifts and your skills. And that's what Spirit's saying to us today. It's time for us to apply our gifts and our skills. And earlier, when when the camera was going wonky and all this was happening and I was laughing about Mercury retrograde and stuff, I realized, I'm like, no, this is when they want us to go into this kind of podcast format, like where, it's not, it's not about the image right now. It's about listening. And that's the thing, is that people are so involved in look at the monkey kind of bullshit. So the Divine Mother is saying unconditional love exists within me. And she's saying that is our mantra that she wants us to work with. I will put this somewhere, either in a shorts or on our My Community page, or, now that I have the My Community, I don't know if I really want to post things anymore. I guess we'll see. But the My Community, I do like that. I feel, you know what, wherever they tell me to put it, I'll put it. Because on my channel, you'll see I have posts. And most of the things I put in posts are things like this, like pictures of the card, but I also do shorts from them. The My Community has been so much fun. I've been having so much fun with it. Please check it out. It's a new feature. If you are a subscriber, you are allowed to post as well. So feel free to post anything that you see or comes across that you're like, wow, I think this would be really good for the collective, kind of thing. And I make sure to monitor it, and because somebody can subscribe and then like put something, whatever. But I've been monitoring it, and so far I haven't seen anything on there. Actually, only Anna and I have posted on there. But please feel free to post on there. But this is what they're trying to say, because I feel like we need this mantra right now. Unconditional love exists within me. Unconditional love exists within me. Unconditional love exists within me. And then it says, the presence of love is the absence of judgment. So basically, what the Divine Mother is saying is that you can't have love and judgment in the same sentence. You can't have love, like, right? Like, even though I was frustrated, and when I saw how smug the American president was signing this piece of crap into, being, and I'm allowed to have my opinions on it. Spirit said, like, I'm a spiritual being, and, yes, that could be ego or whatever, because I know they're playing their part, but it's hard as an intuitive empath, right? Like, and a telepath, it's like I can feel. Let's put it this way. When I saw it, I literally could hear him in his head going, like, got my bill. Like, he's so fucking happy with himself. He's so pleased with himself. And I thought, my God, you're a grown ass fucking man. Like, you're an elder. You're an elder. Elders are supposed to give back, not take away. Some things they're doing, I understand. But other things they're doing are just so gross that I just can't, like, fathom it. I literally, like, you knowingly, like, what the fuck? Why don't we have universal health care? Like, it should be universal. It should be universal no matter what country you're in, no matter where you go, that you will be fucking taken care of. It should just be that way. It's just, it makes no sense. And we, the people, right? Like, we get to decide. In the United States, we signed a Declaration of Independence that we, the people, get to decide. So if we, the people, get to decide, then we get to decide where our fucking money goes. Another person doesn't get to say, oh, well, my party believes in this, so we get to do that. It's just ridiculous. So check in the description box below. I put a link to the latest podcast Prophet, and I spoke more in depth about that and why that's coming to be, and Spirit shared a lot of things with us. And with all these retrogrades happening, and it's the timing of the retrogrades happening that are so unbelievable, especially right now that, so right now we have Neptune, Pluto, Saturn. I feel like I'm missing one. Neptune, Pluto, Saturn. I think those are right now. So those are in retrograde. Then Mercury, we're in the shadow of retrograde. We're basically in it. Um, but then, when did I see? Oh, yeah, then Chiron. Chiron's going retrograde at the end of this month on the 30th. You know what I mean? So retrogrades, I said this earlier and I'll say it again. Retrogrades are all about reflection, delays, setbacks, and introspection. That's what this timing is, the year of the snake, rebirth. I mean, if you look at it like a spiritual intellectual, because like that's like lately, that's the way I've been looking at things, 30-29 and then 30-30. I've been looking at things through an intellectual lens, right? Through the fifth energy of, like the 555 change and transformation, the fifth dimensional energy, the throwback of the third dimensional energy, the in between of third and fifth dimensional energy. Thank you for the likes, you guys. And you can comment if you want to. You don't have to, but you're free to comment if you'd like to. I can never see who's here. It's not set up that way, so it's only if you didn't introduce yourself. I'm just grateful and welcome people to come, because it does help anchor the energy. The first half of this, if you look back on it, it was pretty fucking intense and crazy, but it's cool. We held it down. It was fucking, I actually am kind of curious to go back and watch it later, because it was a little fucking cuckoo, but in so many cool ways, because I could feel the energy of the divine feminine and masculine, like almost like it was as if Kali was here and was like, back off, bitch. You know what I mean? Like, hi, Jessica. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Seriously, like I felt like this divine feminine, like pushing back, like shoving back, like get the fuck back. Like we've had enough. So that's what I'm saying. It was hard for me to watch that video, and I hardly watch anything political unless Spirit directs me to, because of that, because it's so gross to me. But I'm judging it, right? Like I'm judging it. That's their experience. And it doesn't matter how old they are. I have literally been around children that are more spiritually in depth and insightful than the sitting American president. Literally 3-year-olds that have been literally more mature. And I'm not just saying that because we have such powerful beings that have been entering our stratosphere and our atmosphere, right? Everywhere. And I've been watching, Spirit's been having me watch movies like The Arrival and Independence Day, and just like looking at how things are. And it's like, we are them. We are one of them. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the next tack they take, honestly. If they weren't like, go against them, they're aliens. You know what I mean? They're going to use everything they have in their fucking toolbox, and we will be using everything we have in our toolbox. That's the whole point. So we need to have the absence of judgment. That's what Sarada, I think it's Sarada Devi, the Divine Mother, that's what she is saying right now. At the presence of love, it creates the absence of judgment, because I love them, even though they're acting a fool, even though whatever, it's like, I still love them. You know what I mean? Like, if they were assassinated or something happened, I'd still like light a candle and thank them. I don't know if I'd shed a tear or not, but I might. I don't know, but I do know that they're a human being, and that all I see is pain and suffering around them. So I have no idea how terrible their childhood really was. And I feel like looking at these world leaders, it just goes to show us all how much we've lost touch with our own humanity and our own divine feminine, right? Like, because when you sink into that yang energy of power and control, it takes you into the shadow. It's like the divine feminine is connected to the light. The divine masculine is connected to the shadow. So it's like, but that's silly, right? Because both of them they're the same. Light has divine feminine, divine masculine. Shadow has divine feminine, divine masculine. You know what I mean? Kali Ma proves that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's just so many things for us to look at, and so many things for us to unpack. And I feel like the next 50 years, we're laying the foundation right now. If you found yourself to this channel, this episode, or the last podcast Prophet I did, which is about our individuality, that's what is missing, is our individuality. It's this clone form that, I mean, look at that. They tried doing cloning and it didn't take off because people are like, this is fucked. I'm sure they're still doing it in some capacity. But when I was watching The Arrival, the one with Charlie Sheen from like 1996 or something, it was just freaky. It was really freaky to me because I'm like, I can see that. I can totally fucking see that, like them using certain, people. And I mean, sometimes when I look at the sitting American president, I'm like, it does look like they're wearing like a fake human suit. You know what I mean? Like just their face, their jowls, their hair, like everything about them just feels so fake and weird. And it's just weird. You know what I mean? Like it's all weird. When I was watching The Arrival, I was laughing. I remember the first time I watched it and being kind of freaked out and it being creepy. But when I watched it this time, I felt like I was watching a comedy because I'm like, this is obscenely like hilarious. 3529. I saw 3525 as well. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so it's not like I'm laughing at it like I'm above it laughing at it. I'm just laughing at like just how silly it all is and like what we've co-created and what we've become. And now it's our responsibility as well to just bring back to us, right? Like bring that energy back. It doesn't surprise me that we are having the first card we pulled, the Divine Mother, is from India, right? Like that energy. I was my first husband's family was his father was from India, literally like born there, and so it's I learned so much about the culture and just I fell so much in love with like Hinduism and just the way that they approach life. And it's interesting because it's only these like rigorous, Hasidic Jews and like, the right wing Christians, like these very like, you know, no pleasure, only pain, only suffering. It's like, that's so gross. It's like, oh, but we do have pleasure. Yeah, but like the things that they tell you you should derive pain from, you should not be deriving pain from. You know what I mean? So we're just breaking down all of these falsehoods and these paradigms and these just bullshit, basically. We're breaking it down one fucking person at a time. And that's the only way it's going to happen. So we in this collective, we are laying the foundation and the groundwork to help all of those who will be there. They will eventually figure things out. They may die in this lifetime still hating us and whatever. It's like, the interesting thing is when they were signing the bill and I can hear their little song going off in their fucking head. It was almost like, I'm going to make you proud, daddy. You know what I mean? Because that his father's, I mean, think about it. You're in your 70s, 80s, like that energy. So his father, I've seen pictures of the sitting American president. I won't give their name credence, not because I'm like, I don't want to say it. I just feel like I don't want to keep saying it because that's what they want. They want the power of it. Because I use hashtags all the time, I have watched their hashtag jump leaps and bounds in such a short period of time that I'm like, there's no way these aren't paid. I'm serious. I mean, think about this. They were a president before, and I use the hashtag don't give up. A lot of times Spirit has me use it. So of course, when I go to DON, right? T, it goes to him. And I remember even last year when he was running, it was like maybe 250,000. Now it's in the millions. You can buy hashtags, you guys. You can, there's so much fakery and fuckery on social media. You can buy followers. Just because it says somebody has 100,000 followers, people are like, oh, I should follow them because they have 100. No. You'd be so surprised how fucking shallow people are. You'd be so surprised. And also people are trying to make money, right? So they think of it like advertisement. When I grew up, I worked in advertising. You gotta spend money to make money. I worked in advertising. That was like our slogan. You got to spend money to make money. But it is kind of true, right? Like if nobody knows who the fuck you are and you're in a small town in the middle of nowhere and you're only like word of mouth, but then somebody puts you, on a live, platform or live, but you know what I mean? On a platform all out into the world, all of a sudden everybody knows about Joe's fucking ice cream cones in, Purdue, Texas. I don't even know if there's a Purdue, Texas. That just came out of my mind. And bless them, but bless everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody's going through some type of, where I live in the Pacific Northwest, Mount Rainier had 300 mini earthquakes like in one day, and they're keeping an eye on it now. I asked Spirit, I'm like, do I need to get the fuck out of Dodge? Because that's not that far from me. I mean, I can literally see it from like my area. So, it's about a 2 hour drive from here. And when my friend was living in Portland, Oregon, and Mount St. Helens went off, which is about a 2 hour drive, same thing, hour and a half, something like that. She had like 4 inches of soot on her railing from her apartment building balcony. You know, so it affects everything and everyone. If the volcano explodes, if you know, we had a few earthquakes here a few months ago, like one that like it woke me up. And I know because I lived in LA, I lived in earthquake country. So, you know, the tectonic plates, they're always moving. So you never know like what's going to happen. So I pray for all of us, you know, like wherever you are, there's like, I kind of feel like, is there anywhere safe? Not really. You know what I mean? But that's the whole point right now, is that we're not supposed to, it's not about feeling, you know, oh my gosh, where can I go? It's about trusting that you're where you're supposed to be and that Spirit's got your back, you know? So anyway, I just saw so many things when I saw them sign that bill. And, you know, their father was from a very old generation of like, you know, the power and control, the turn of the century, you know what I mean? Like the 1800s and slavery and all that kind of bullshit. But yeah, the picture I saw of them was, I don't know how old they were, but their dad, I remember looking at the picture of them and I'm like, oh, they must be in their 20s or something. And their dad looked really like looked much older, but it's hard to say because people, you know, didn't take care of themselves as well back then as they do now. But either way, it just felt like that good old boys club, you know. It just felt like that energy that is what got us to this fucking place in the first place, you know what I mean? So he's tied to their karma. I mean, you know, they call it the Kennedy curse for a reason. I mean, the Kennedys themselves have said it over and over. They're like, you know, they called us Camelot, but like people didn't realize that, you know, Joe Kennedy, like the father, whatever, like he sold like his soul to the devil. Like seriously, like he did a lot of underhanded, shady shit that he knew was going to hurt people, kill people, ruin things or whatever. Like he did it for the money. So, you know, that shit's all gonna fucking come during these retrograde seasons, you guys. Not to mention that the Lionsgate portal is gonna open and that changes everything. So we're gonna go from a flowing water energy of Cancer to the fiery fucking Leo. And everybody knows Leo energy is like, me, all about me, enough about me. What do you think of me? And that is the fucking epitome of ego. And who's gonna come in for that fucking ego? Kali Ma, baby. She's gonna fucking come in. She's been talking to me. She hasn't talked to me this much since my dad died 10 years, literally 10 years, no, 11 years ago. No, 10 years ago. No, I've been with Alder 10 years. So yeah, so my dad's been gone 11 years. And when my father passed, I had been working with Kali Ma a lot. And I kept saying I wanted to get a tattoo to honor my father when he passed. And I remember I was telling somebody, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to get Kali Ma. And they're like, what the fuck? They're like, why would you get Kali Ma to like represent your father? I'm like, if you knew my dad and you knew my relationship with my dad and my relationship with Kali, you would totally understand it. I'm like, it's not for somebody else to understand. I do feel like I'm going to put her on me at some point. I just don't know when. But anyway, I digress. So, but it hasn't, like, she hasn't come to me like this strongly in like a decade, basically, is what I'm saying. So she's a fierce fucking bitch. And I say that because I say that with love, and bitch is a beautiful thing because it's a mother dog is what a bitch is, right? But this isn't about like the divine feminine coming up and being like, I'm gonna push back and like blah 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 blah. It's like I'm gonna do something, you know, on a different scale. This is about love. This is about, you know, it's the absence of judgment, but also with the same cognizance of understanding what's happening, right? So I could be disgusted by his smugness. I can be angry or frustrated that he's using our taxpayer money. Ooh, and I looked down, it was 44. right? And I know that we have tribe members all over the planet. So thank you. But we all know that, like, what's that old saying, shit rolls downhill. And we all know that America's been touting itself as the most powerful country in the world for a long fucking time. It doesn't mean that it is, but so, but it is highlighted on a platform that people, the rest of the world too, like have tried to be like us, want to be like us. And they're finding, like, landfills in Africa filled with our shit, because they take our shit and instead of putting it in our landfills, they bring like clothes from like Goodwill and like all those, and then and shoes, and they bring them to these like third world countries, and they're like, oh, look at, we're donating, blah blah blah. But what they're really doing is they're ending up putting shit in landfills there. I mean, there's just so much fakery and fuckery that's going to get exposed over the next 3 years, Spirit told me. So just keep your vibration high, keep the love high, keep the judgment low. And if you find yourself judging somebody or something or a situation, sit with it for a minute and find out, why you're feeling judgment around it, because most likely it's mirroring back something to you that you need to work through or work with. So that's the kind of energy I'm getting. Also, I feel like we're going to be working with this deck more than today. I don't know what that means. So let me see. Do we have any more messages, Spirit? And does anybody have any questions? Do you have any questions? I don't know if you're still here, Jessica, but how's your week been going, if you want to talk? I don't know if we do. Let me see if they want us to go into the book. Do we want to take any teachings from the Divine Mother in the book? Okay. This book feels really hearty today. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels kind of heavy and kind of hearty. Okay, so let's see. These cards are sticking together. I had to move my decks, because we're going through the renovation, and I had to move my decks up into these cabinets, which I really like it. They actually fit perfectly in there, and I actually like them better in there than I had them in my other my vintage secretary cabinet, which I'm really excited is coming back in here soon. But I don't like that the heat, it's where the sun is the hottest. So my cards have been getting a little screwy. Okay, this one, finally. I knew one was coming. Ooh, interesting. Teresa of Avila. I love how I'm like, here, I'm going to show you for a second, but I love how I was like, I was like this, like you guys could see me. Okay, so Jessica says, running wild. Something happened upon waking today. I awoke to a crow caw one time behind the wall where I sleep. Just looked it up. Today is the anniversary of my ex's death. Oh my gosh, wow. And for those of you who don't know and haven't been following our Sacred Sunday sessions, this is episode 10. So, the 9, was it last week or was it the week before? Everything's been bleeding together for me. Seriously, it's unbelievable how fast things are going. And I feel like I'm going into the rhythm. I've been feeling the flow. I feel like I'm in it now. I feel like I'm in the fifth dimensional energy flow now. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like I'm still working with shit, obviously, but I'm feeling way more in the flow now than I have ever felt, really powerfully. And I mean ever felt in my life, because my eye just twitched. It's like, I feel like you're like, ever, really, ever. That's really powerful. That's so powerful. But anyway, in one of our past episodes, Jessica's ex-husband, who has now passed, came through the reading. So it's interesting that they came today and that the crow. Well, also crows are all the corvids actually are connected with magic. The raven is the most closely connected. My right eye is twitching. So I'm feeling for somebody, like it did it again. And I feel like for somebody, Spirit is saying you are too stressed out. You are working too hard, moving too fast, moving too much. How's everybody doing? Anna, Jessica, myself, so many of us have had injuries. I was, attacked by a dog. Well, not attacked. I mean, he bit me. He punched me. They say Belgian Malinois, it's called a punch. But still, it hurt as much as a fucking bite. So anyway, that's really interesting. How's everybody going with the flow? Take it easy in this Mercury retrograde. So I'll put this here. I don't know if you'll be able to read it. Look at how weird my hands look. I'm like, does my whole hand look like that? I'm like, I kind of want to see what my hand's going to look like in there. Oh yeah, it's like a funhouse mirror. Jessica, finding balance of the dark and light. I was completely surrounded the other day at a stoplight by white and black cars. I stopped counting at 21 cars. It was wild. I've been having a download all week from the color black. Oh, that's interesting. Well, it might be also because color black is also the color of protection, black and red. That's why you see a lot of like emu and goth kids. A lot of them are very spiritually gifted or very connected to like different realms, whether it's the shadow energy or the light. And that's why they wear black. They don't even realize it. Or maybe they do. But it's actually the color of protection. So the Teresa of Avila, Our Lady of the Interior Life. I trust the answers I find within me. I know that the presence of love is real. Ah, Jessica, yes. It kind of makes me sad that like if you're on the live version, I don't know why they can't keep the dialogue. You know what I mean? Like you should be able to like keep the dialogue so people can see it. That's why sometimes I'll say, "Can you guys take a screenshot? Can you, because it's just like if you guys are interacting, only I can see it and you can see it with each other while it's live. But it's kind of frustrating because, then people can't go back and see it. Also, you guys, we are really climbing in numbers, but not just that. I got a download from Spirit. I think we have about 3,000 tribe members. They just don't subscribe, they don't like, or they don't participate. But Spirit was showing me because I kept saying, "Oh, cool!" Like, I said something like 1,500 or something, and they're like, I go, there are days I feel like we have so many more than this, and I got this vibe from Spirit like 3,000 or 3,800. I kept seeing too, so that was kind of interesting, very, very interesting. Okay, so it says, I trust the answers I find within me. I know that the presence of love is real. So we'll put it there. Okay, they're telling me to go back off visual. Or do you want me to keep them on visual, Spirit? I feel like they don't care. You know what I mean? That they're elongated. Do we want to stay on the visual? No. Okay, so we're going back off. Okay, back off. Does anybody have any questions? Or anything else that you want to share? That's really powerful, Jessica. I have been having a really wild week myself. I mean, that's why I put the link for the podcast profit episode, because I was feeling my individuality and I was feeling like these downloads from Spirit, and I just like had to speak. Drink some water, stay hydrated. But I've really been feeling this Christ consciousness energy that we are the second coming, and that it's almost like I feel like Jesus said that. Like he was like, I'm coming back, but I ain't coming back alone. And I feel like he was like, I've been there during, you know what I mean? Like he was here. He was dealing with the downfall of the Romans. You know what I mean? Like he went through exactly what we're going through right now. So if he's here incarnate, they haven't shown themselves to me, but, or maybe they have and Spirit's not showing it to me directly. But as far as us, like as a collective, like as light workers and the earth angels, we are like Jesus, we are Jesus, Jesus is us. We are the Christ consciousness. So that's why they were talking about unconditional love exists within me. That's a message from the Divine Mother, but it's really also it's like that was Jesus' message, and Jesus loved his mother. He revered his mother. I mean, Mary is a saint. I mean, she's considered, we've got this Saint Teresa, right? Teresa of Avila. Avila, I think, is in Spain, right? Or is that Sevilla? I don't know. But she's the lady of the interior life. So this is about our intuition. I trust the answers I find within me. I know that the presence of love is real. And we all know it's much nicer to be in the presence of love than it is to be in the presence of shadow, right? Wouldn't you much rather be around somebody who's like, oh my gosh, let's have a wonderful date. Let's make a meal together. Oh, the weather's beautiful. Let's sit outside. As opposed to somebody who's like, oh, you know what? Fuck that. I don't want to be outside. Let's just stay inside. Let's watch a horror movie. I don't want to be around people right now. I hate people. People suck. Love isn't real. You know what I mean? It's like you can talk yourself into and out of anything. My mama used to say that, and it's fucking so true. You can really talk yourself into or out of anything. The one thing that the thing that the disconnect that I found with my mom was my mom would preach certain things, but she wouldn't live it. It's like she kept faking it till she made it, right? But it was like fake it till you make it, but she wasn't actually doing it. But in her very like submissive on the fray of spirituality, it was like this God and this force, and God was a man, and you know what I mean? It was just this, and I remember when I was talking to my mom about it, about the divine feminine and the goddess energy, and I don't remember what she said, but something like because I was always opposite, right? She's like, if I say black, you say white. And I'm like, no, mom, it's just that like we don't see things the same. I feel like I kept a lot of the humanity in my family as long as I could actually, but then I started to see my nieces and my nephews as they got older. I was like, they got this. You know what I mean? Like I did my part, now I can go, because they also have a conscience and they do have very soft, sensitive hearts, you know what I mean? And so I always knew that when I knew I was going to have to walk away. All my teachers told me, Alder and I spoke about it. I knew I was going to have to walk away from my family, but it made me feel so happy. I mean, it's not an accident either that the last time I saw my family, I stayed in an actual hotel room with two of my nieces and their significant others. And I slept on the floor because I couldn't afford to stay. The even with like the package deal, it was like $350 a night for a room, and I was like, yeah, that's like just too far. It wasn't they weren't worth it, I just didn't have it at the time. Anyway, they blessed me and said, yeah, of course, it's not like we're going to be having any hanky panky, you know what I mean? They were sharing twin beds. It was expensive, right? Everybody had to kind of double up, and the family, got together and was like, oh, how can we help each other? But it was really neat because I had this fucking really cool moment. I will never forget it as long as I live. And all of a sudden it was like my nieces and their significant others were like standing in the room, like, and it was the way they were standing too. It was so fucking crazy. It was like all of them were standing in different positions and I was like on the outside, and it was like 1 minute it was like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. We were talking about essential oils because they were asking me. I said, is it okay with you guys? I said, I'm really sensitive to smells and energy. I said, is it okay if I run some essential oils in here? I said, if you guys don't like the smell, I'll take it out. I think I just ran lavender. I just wanted it to be calm in there, and they liked it. They're like, oh no, that's nice. I'm like, yeah, it's lavender. It's like, it's just very calming. This is intense energy. We were staying in downtown Chicago in a very busy hotel on a weekend in October. You know what I mean? It was just like fucking so busy. And I was like, we need this, I think there was over 200 people, at the wedding. So I was like, we need this calming energy. So anyway, I turned around, and it was like 1 minute I was like talking to them, and the next minute I turned around, and it was like the whole fucking hotel room like faded away. It just like broke away. And I was like in Roman times, and it was like, I don't know where I was or what was happening, but Rome, I guess. And there was just like, I saw all of them dressed. It was like they were all alive during that time, and they were all dressed in like their different clothes. But the one that got me the most was my one niece, who's like 6 foot, without heels on, and she's really tall, and she was in this like warrior outfit, but she was a woman. And I don't know if it's just because I saw her as her, but I just saw her, and I saw them all. And I saw like, I guess my nephew-in-law, but I'll just say my nephew, but I saw him too. And like, but the thing I saw was like, he was like a ruler of some kind, or like I don't know. He was like, I don't know how to explain it. I can't explain it without like, like I wish I could just put you in my fucking head and like show you, maybe you can see what I'm seeing. But it was just really powerful, and it was really profound. And I just thought, what the fuck is going on? But they were all in some fight of fighting for good. And I could feel that. And it made me realize that, like, not all the Roman soldiers wanted to do what they had to do. There are supposedly, like, there's a book written on one of the soldiers who loved Jesus. And the only reason why he didn't, like, turn against his, people was because he had a family, and he didn't, like, they would kill them. but he tried to take care of Jesus. He was the one that was like, stop, or like, leave him alone, or, kind of thing, or he's had enough, or he didn't try and help him like carry the cross or anything like that. But it was just, I don't know. I mean, there's stories, so who knows? These are thousands of years ago. I mean, we play the telephone game and we can see in 5 minutes how much the story can get distorted. So do the math, right? I mean, shit gets fucking distorted. Oh, we just hit the hour mark. Interesting. But it's about endings and new beginnings, right? So I realized, I'm like, they're gonna be okay. My family's gonna be okay. I know we come from a long line of like, holy shit, like, I feel like I was alive when Jesus was alive. One of my teachers told me that I was a teacher that Jesus worked with when he was alive. So that kind of blew my wig off. But they were the first one that told me that. But then I had other readers tell me that too. Then I saw myself like bathing Jesus' feet when he was on the cross. So I don't know. I mean, we, talking about past lives, right? Talking about these planets going in retrograde. This is the kind of shit they want us to really look at right now. So go inward, trust your own intuition, trust the answers that are within. Do a deep dive into some past life regression. There might be something there that you need to look at, that you need to work with. The divine feminine is like, hold our hand, we will walk you through it. These energies, these entities, unless you like signed a soul contract for them to help you, unknowingly, you have to ask them to come in. We have free will on this planet. That's the gift we were given. But some people look at it as a curse because they're like, well, don't they just step in? I'm like, not always. Not unless you're like, remember that movie Meet Joe Black? That's another powerful one too, right? Where, I think the original story was like the devil gets to live for a day or something like that. Or death gets to live for a day, because it was death, not the devil. Right. And the whole point is that Brad Pitt's character is like this magical creature, that falls in love, with this woman, and like a meet cute kind of situation. And I don't want to tell you anymore, but, but like they talk about this, right? Like the Grim Reaper, and how we can change bodies. We can change. When I'm astral traveling, like this morning when I was waking up, I was like, where the fuck was I? Whenever I'm trying really hard to remember it, when I'm coming out of it, when I'm waking up, that's when I know I was astral traveling. Because I'm like, oh, come on, please. I want to know, especially if it's like a good story or I'm having a good time. Like when I wake up in a good mood, I'm always grateful because I'm like, oh, wherever I was, like I could tell I was having a really good time, or like, but I've had astral traveling things where I literally feel like the movie Stepfather, where he's like, where am I? Who am I in this life or whatever, right? Because he's like such a sociopath, and he like, kills people and takes different identities, and he keeps changing his identity. Talk about demonic behavior. But when I'm astral traveling, or when I'm, meditating, or when I'm in this world, in this wake state, they're all different energies. They're all different time frames and time like dimensions. It's hard to explain, like, right? Like I think it's difficult at this time for the human brain to fully comprehend all of it, because we're not meant to. And then when we die and we leave these avatars and we go back into spirit form, we understand, right? Because we just go back to source, basically. So that's what spirit is telling us right now. We have to trust the answers that we find in ourselves. And that's when we know that the presence of love is real. When you're feeling fear, if you're in a meditation or anywhere, dreaming, astral traveling, dreaming, to me, I feel like I have some dreams where, like you're flying, or you're, you know what I mean? Or like there's multiple entities, or see, but I don't even want to say that because I think it's all the same. I don't know how to explain it. If you guys know what I'm saying, just like give me a thumbs up, or like tell me, or if you're like, no, explain more, because I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that like there really are no boundaries or borders. It's only the ones that we impose on our own thoughts and our own experience. Do you feel me? You hear me? And what was the planet? Oh yeah, so today Saturn, right, went retrograde. And Saturn, so Jessica's like, I agree, right? Thank you, Jessica. I'm like, can you just give me one? Just let me know you're here. Just let me know. Because if you're not, I'm like, then I'll ask Spirit to have me further expound on that because some people really don't understand. And I'm like, if you're most likely, if you found yourself here at any time, whether it's live or you watch this later, it's, you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't be here if you didn't at least remotely kind of understand what I'm saying. So, you know, I guess I can show you, but I took these notes so many years ago, but I thought it was interesting that in Saturn, boundaries is the only one I wrote and read. Oh, wait, no, excuse me. Most feared and revered discipline. The Saturn is the most feared and revered planet because they are the leaders of discipline and karma, right? Saturn's the energy of discipline and karma, the Lord of karma. You can only push back a bitch so far, right? Like I'm hearing like some spirit guides, like, right? Like you can only push the divine feminine back so far. She's gonna fucking retaliate. Even, and I can tell you, my mom, when I was growing up, she was I watched my mom change viscerally. Like, I think that's the word I'm looking for. But I just watched my mom over, like, because when I met my mom, she was 22, right? So from the time my mom was 22 until she was 75, I had the pleasure to like watch my mom change, evolve, and grow. But I also watched her devolve. There was a window of time where I saw my mom and saw like the real her. At least I felt like was the real her. And it was the only time that she wasn't going to church. And then when she started going back to church and she gave her life back to God again, I was like, fuck. And we would fight about it. And one of the last times we saw each other, my mom likened it to, no, that was when I lost control and I started drinking and all. And I was like, yeah, exactly. Like you had your like tower moment, and instead of like allowing herself to become who she was, like me, right? Like she was very witchy and connected to, all this. Now of course we all know that it was meant to be, blah 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 blah, right? But that was her free will, was her choice. Excuse me. But now I know that she had to go back into that so that she could be the catalyst for me pushing away from my family. You know what I mean? So it's just so interesting. And now, of course, this is my perception of it. This is my level of consciousness around it. So, talk to me next week, next month, 10 years from now. I may give you a completely, different scenario into that. But when I look through that window of that time period, I always remember 36 because I remember that age period. And it was basically, I feel like my mom went into menopause. In our family, the women go into menopause very early, late 30s. And it's been the routine in my family. I don't know if they still will, but it so far in my family experience, the women have in my age and that are past now, right? So it makes sense that in those years, from like 36 to her early 40s, when she started going back to church and like getting back into God, is when she was not, I don't want to say evil, but like dark as fuck. Like she was just dark. She was going through her dark night of the soul, kind of thing. And it was just interesting to watch. And because I am what I am, and looking back on it now, I can be like, holy shit. You may have the same experience with yourself or with your family, especially for those of us in our crone, a lot of us in our baby crone, right? We're at the beginning of our crone years. So, my period and all that's like long behind me. I literally couldn't tell you the last time I had one. Like it's been at least, I think, 10 years since I've had a period for real. Well, I think I had them when I first got together with Alder. So maybe 9 years. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But it does change you. And now, thanks to so many women who have advocated for, more help and supplements and teachings around the change,
instead of it being swept under the rug by the divine masculine, like, so what? You don't have a period anymore. It's like, no, you have no fucking clue. You have no clue. I love when they have those men do the period machines of like how that scientist has figured out how to what a cramp feels like, that they can like affect that muscle, or they put the electrodes on there or whatever so that they can show them like that's what it feels like. They're like, now imagine that for like 8 hours straight. And men are like, oh, take it off, take it off, take it off. They're like, that's right, bitch. You can't fucking handle it. I mean, that's the irony of it, right? They've taken us back like all of these, you know, it's like look at Kali Ma. I mean, she's a badass motherfucker. Like she is badass. That's why she's got fucking, divine masculine skulls on her, on her regalia, right? Because she's like, I'll take another bitch down if I have to. And it's just so interesting. And here's the thing, the divine masculine, it's not the energy's fault that this has happened, right? It's the free will of the humanity that has done that to the divine masculine. We all have divine masculine and divine feminine. Like I said, 70% of my chart is masculine. I've said this before. So I've had to do so much fucking work on myself, and I still do. I caught myself with Alder recently, and it was so gross. I didn't even realize what I was doing until I saw his face distort, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I was talking to him about something, and then it was really important. And I said, oh, when I looked down, it was 11:01. 11:11's our thing, Alder and I, and we were married on 11:11, so that's so interesting. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I love it. But it was something that was really vital and really important. He's a triple Gemini and his moon's in Sag. So sometimes, like when I'm trying to explain something to him, he's like, I'm like, do you hear me? And he's like, yeah, I heard you. I'm like, did you get it? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And then like later, the thing that I was talking to him about, he won't do it. And then I'll be like, remember I asked you to blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh yeah, that's what you were saying. I'm like, yeah, you weren't listening. So we kind of got into this habit where I would say, can you look at me when I'm talking to you? Because I noticed that when I would look at him in the eyes, the retention was there. It was 11144, not an accident. So look up 1144 as well. Also, that's the number 11. But I didn't do it like, look at me. You know what I mean? I'd be like, can you look at me? Or I'd be like, dude, look at me or whatever. But what I noticed the other day was hey, I'm like, can you look at me? I'm like, can you look at me when I'm talking to you, please? And I saw his face and I saw the way he looked at me and I saw how distorted he got. And I said, oh my gosh, you don't like that. He goes, I do not like that. I said, I won't do that anymore. I'm like, but maybe we need to find a different languaging or something, because I can physically feel when he's not listening. I can feel when he's floating away. And I'm like, listen, this is serious. This is like construction work. I don't want you to take something out, or, you know what I mean? I'm like, we need to find something that makes you feel comfortable. And then I realized, because they're still working through their abuse from their divine masculine and look at me when I'm talking to you. You know what I mean? Look at me when I'm talking to you. That abusive, where they're still working through that part of their shadow through their abuse from their parents. Oh, thanks for being here, Jessica. Jessica says she has to go. I love you too. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you next time. Many blessings to you on your journey today. Stay safe. And take it one step at a time. Remember, we're in the shadows, going retrograde in a few days, and we're in a lot of retrograde. Saturn went retrograde today. So this isn't to give you guys a fear. That's not about that. It's awareness. I'm just giving you awareness that you know what's going on, but other people don't. So when you guys are out and about in the world, remember that, just because you have and hold that awareness, other people don't. So hold that awareness with love though, right? So if somebody's like going a little off, half cocked, be like, you know what? The energy's kind of nuts out there. Even if they don't believe in astrology or any of that, just be like, the energy's kind of intense out there today. You might want to just like kind of take it a little easy, just find a languaging that feels good. I've been having a little bit of discrepancy lately with masks, meaning like, it's like we want to hold space for people and those that are present. But we don't want to have to flip into a character to make them feel comfortable. 11414, another 11. Wow. So the angels are here and they're present and they're trying to show us that, we We hang together when we can. In fact, it was so interesting because I came off such a high from last Sacred Sunday because we had so many people present. It was so fun. And the Divine Feminine, when they showed me that, I'm like, oh yeah, it's on the 13th. I'm like, oh, they wanted to use the Divine Feminine, deck. I'm like, it's going to be so much fun. I'm like, oh, I wonder who's going to show up today. And then it was like crickets. It was chaotic. I think that's what they're trying to show us too, that, all of us are going through our own stuff. Sometimes you're going to be able to show up and sometimes you're not. And that's even for yourself. And when you can't show up for yourself, those are the days that you take a day off. You get quiet, you get still. Those are the days you're like, I don't care if, I don't encourage eating a bag of granola for dinner or chips or something like that, but I'm just saying, like, there are times where you can't even muster up the energy to make food. I've been there. So take care of yourself, treat yourself well, go a little bit slower. Just take it easy and do more research on what's going on with the astrology right now. Do we have any more messages from the Divine Feminine? I really do feel like, I do feel like another reading coming on with this deck. So it could be, there could be a pick-a card that's coming out. Oh, Lakshmi. Oh my gosh, this is so interesting because yesterday I was writing something and I almost wrote down Lakshmi. It was like I knew she was coming. So there is the beautiful Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance. I choose to feel abundant. Wealth is an inside job. I choose to feel abundant. Wealth is an inside job. Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we were going to do some type of pick a reading with them. It's either that or they want me to put pictures of them and maybe the book in on the channel somehow, It's like I feel like they're almost like they're looking out for us, and I do feel like they want us to go back and thanks, you guys. Welcome. Thank you for being here. So we have been going back and forth between showing the visual and doing this. When I started this, you'll have to go back and watch the beginning, but it was so intense and so cool, but so chaotic and beautiful all at the same time. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for showing up today. I am in such deep gratitude. Jessica was here. She just left. So if you want to introduce yourself, you can. I can't see you, and you don't have to introduce yourself. I'm just grateful that you're here. And if you have any questions for Spirit, feel free to ask, because Lakshmi just came in, and she is the goddess of abundance. I choose to feel abundant. Wealth is an inside job. Before that, we had Teresa of Avila, Our Lady of Interior Life, which is I trust the answers I find within me. I know that the presence of love is real. And then we had our first card was Sarada Devi, the Divine Mother. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. And their message was unconditional love exists within me. The presence of love is the absence of judgment. So that's interesting. Okay, so do we have any more cards that want to be pulled? Right. Actually, what'd you say? Did you say, do we want to go into the book at all right now for any of the Divine Feminine energy, the goddess energy? Do any of you have any questions that you'd like to ask Spirit before I start shuffling again? And Isis is here. Isis is a goddess of love. She is beautiful. Oh my gosh, this just flipped over. Guided by Malcolm's light. Hi, I'm Alana. My dad passed. Do Spirit have any messages from him? Oh, is Malcolm your dad? That's interesting, because you said guided by Malcolm's light. I don't know if Malcolm means anything. And welcome, Alana. My name is Tallulah Kelly, and this is the Magical Medium. Welcome to this tribe. Oh, okay. So let's see. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to take these out, the ones that we had, and see if there's any more messages. I'm just knocking the light out. So, Papa Malcolm. Oh my gosh, this one almost like, okay, so when they have us go into this kind of podcast format, they do it because they want us to really concentrate and connect, but they also have me flip back and forth because this is the card, and I'll put it in the My Community section. If you are a subscriber, you can post in the My Community section, but if you're not a subscriber, you can still look at it, and it's on this page, but then you'll see this, so if you want to take a screenshot for yourself. So it's Anandamaya. Oh, I don't want to. So this beautiful name, the joy permeated mother. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. Wow. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. So I do feel like this is a message from your papa. I do feel like, and I do feel like I literally heard, so I don't know what you, if you called him dad, but I literally heard it felt like, it almost felt like another time frame or something, or like another, like from a period film or something. It was like, papa, like, like, oh gosh, it's very interesting. This is not the first lifetime that they were your father. I'm seeing the number 24. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's an age or a birthday, but it came through really strongly. It's also the number 6. So the Divine Mother was the first card that came through. So I feel like you're meant to, when this is over, maybe you're meant to watch this from the beginning. There'll be more messages from your dad. But this says unconditional love exists within me. The presence of love is the absence of judgment. So, so I get the feeling your father was not always a holy man, so to speak. See, the thing is, when a spirit comes through or when an energy comes through, I feel them, their essence of who they actually, like what their soul is and represents and is part of the collective. But then they show me like what their life was. Cause I've had people, I'm like, oh, your so-and-so's here. They're so lovely. And they're like, they beat me, blah, blah. I'm like, well, they haven't shown me that yet. I'm just telling you who they are in spirit, who their soul is, you know? So I'm just getting the vibe that, I just keep hearing over and over, not on the up and up. So I don't know if this is a message to you or your dad is saying that he wasn't always on the up and up. Like, but I'm also hearing shady lady. So I don't know if that's like a mother figure, because it's interesting that you are here today. I don't know if you're a regular subscriber or if you're new here. Feel free to share if you want to. But basically today is episode 10 of Sacred Sunday, and we use different decks and we do different topics all the time. Today is the 13th, which 13 is the number of the divine feminine, of the goddess, and so we're working with literally the divine feminine oracle deck, right? So the fact that you are asking about your father, a divine masculine, is very powerful to me. So okay. Okay, well, yay, welcome. Yes, you're spot on, shady lady. And you're new here, well, welcome. And we're so grateful to have you here. We love you so much. Thank you. We're just finding each other again. We've known each other before, so welcome. It's so nice to have you back into our fold of our angel wings, Alana. I hope I'm saying that right. Lana, or is it Alana? If it's Alana with an H, like say, like, spell it like how I would speak it, kind of thing, so that I don't want to say it incorrectly. But that's interesting. So who's the shady lady? Because they're like, in one of our, I don't know if it was Sacred Sunday or one of our readings, Tom Jones was like, she's got plush, she's got grace, she's a she's a lady. Like, that's what's coming through, but that's what I'm feeling, like that energy. Okay, so mom. So mom, are you British, Australian, UK? And always, again, I like to know like how far, like our first episode, we had someone from India, we had a few people from the United States. I'm in the United States. And then we had one from, I think she was from Denmark or Sweden. Anyway, we always like to know British. Okay, cool. And also, it doesn't surprise me that you're British, because my whole family is from the UK on my grandma's side. Pritchett is my grandmother's maiden name. And I just saw something recently about something about a witch with Pritchett, and I had to laugh. And I was talking to my witchy grandmother that passed, and I was like, oh man, I'm like, Grandma, it's like, I'm like, I need to really research my lineage, because Pritchett is a very common name from that part of the world. So very interesting. Anyway, so welcome. But that's so interesting. Yeah. So I just heard shady lady. So was your dad your protector? Because I'm just curious. I mean, I'm thinking if you're going to go by, I'm a telepathic medium, but also because I work in, especially in these kind of things, um, I feel it's like I have everything, you know what I mean? Like I have all the clairs. Like sometimes I taste things, feel things, see things, hear things. It's all different. So my gifts are, somebody had said once that I should put more about myself in the description box. So maybe I will. I know I saw one reader put like their sign and like their rising and all that. And maybe I'll do that so people can kind of but the only reason why I kept that out is because I feel like that was when people were going through like, I'm an INJF. I'm a, you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's cool that like people are, expounding more on the human experience and, the plan of humanity, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, I think that it's a slippery slope because people can be very, oh, you're a Cancer. I don't like cancers. I don't get along with cancers. And you're like, dude, cancer's a fucking energy. You know what I mean? Like I'm a Sagittarius and I'm a triple Sag and my moon's in Scorpio, but that's not all like that, right? Like my rising could be something else, so it just depends. So I try not to like just lump people in with one sum. So your dad was your protector. Oh, welcome, Sag sister. Oh, I don't know if you go by sister. I should have asked first. If that's okay, let me know. One of our other tribe members, Anna, they are a Sagittarius as well. So please feel free to share your birthday. I'm December 13th. And I think Anna's December 1st. I have it in my calendar. I kept getting it messed up because I had a lot of people whose birthdays are from December or 11, just like November 30th to December 7th. I had a lot of people's birthdays. And so sometimes I forget which one is who if I don't put them in my calendar, kind of thing. But anyway, so November 27th. Oh, yay. Oh, yay. So you're like I always say like, you're in the Scorpio energy too, right? Because Scorpio dominates November. So it's like you're at the beginning. You're in the first decan of Sagittarius. And if you haven't researched it, you may want to research the first decan because every decan holds a different place. So there's the first decan, the second and third decan of a sign, meaning like the first, second, and third part is Sagittarius. And it does make a difference of which decan you're in. Like I'm in the third decan and it's ruled by Leo, which makes a lot of sense, and most of my chart is, I looked it up and like 6 of the things on my chart are Sagittarius. That's a lot. That's a lot. And that's a lot of fucking fire. And then my moon's water, Scorpio, go figure, right? So going through all that and dissecting our charts, Pam Gregory, if Spirit calls me to after this uploads, I'll put a link in the description box. If you guys, once these are done, I sometimes they have me go back and put things in that come through. But it's Pam Gregory is an amazing astrologer. She's one of my favorites. And she just always gets it right. Plus, she's British and it's the way she speaks. I just love her. It's like, I mean, I'm not going to try it because I'm just going to fuck it up. I was married to a Brit I was with a Brit for almost a decade and I could do so many different dialects so well, but over the years, like if you don't practice, but anyway, she's amazing. I love Pam Gregory. But she has a link for a free birth chart and it's awesome because it's very precise and to the point. Some of these other ones, they really get into it. And if you want to, go and do that. But, the fact that we're working with all these planets today and the retrogrades and talking about them, I feel like Spirit is really pushing this tribe to work more with astrology this year. So our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to align more with our birth chart, to understand why things are the way they are, why things flow the way they flow. Like recently, the full moon was in Capricorn. Well, my Venus is in Capricorn, and it's interesting because I was pulled to post these videos that was more like me, like being a little more flirty, a little more, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, not that it's not me, it's just like I haven't seen that part of me in a minute, and I'm like, oh, it makes sense, right? Because my Capricorn, my Venus, my outward, the way I look and feel about myself was like on, on spotlight, right? On the full moon in Capricorn. So getting to know our charts, we can understand our energy better. And if you guys haven't noticed, it may look gross and grim on the outside, but like for people like us, it's actually, our lives are getting better, And if you are grateful, oh wait, I want to go off this. If you're grateful for where you are, and you're grateful for like what you have, that's where it starts. Start with gratitude first. Once you start there, everything else will start to fall into line. You understand? You know, it's like, um, oh, yay, I love it. They said, thank you. I will definitely look into that. You're amazing. I feel connected to you. Yes, I feel connected to you too. You know, and that's why your dad brought you here. You know what I mean? Like your dad brought you here. By the way, we can go on and on. There's so many things that are coming through right now, but I want to get back to you. Is it Alana with a like Alana or Alana? Like, you would say like, let's say with an H, then I'll know it's Alana. I had Alana. Okay. Okay. Alana. Okay. I just want to make sure because some people, you know, I would say their name. I had one of my clients, I said their name wrong for the longest time. And then I'm like, why didn't you correct me? They're like, cause I don't, everybody does it. It's okay. I'm like, it's not okay though. If that's not how you feel and that's not your name, it's not okay. So I just want to make sure that you feel seen and heard. And thank you. We're so glad you're here. Are you having a connection with your mom at all? By the way, was your dad a Leo? Because I'm seeing Leo the lion. So it's either your dad was a Leo or something is coming up and maybe in Leo season or during the Lionsgate portal, or so you're going to have like some breakthrough or something. Also, I feel like you're at the tip of it, Alana. I feel like you're at the fucking, like, you're at the precipice of something really, really big, like some type of breakthrough or some type of something. And I feel like you know this too. I feel like you know what I'm talking about. That's probably why you're here. You know, I always tell people there's some people who have been walking with me through this whole journey. We've been holding hands, like fucking, you know, yeah. So that's what I thought. So this is what your dad told me from the beginning. And I just wanted to find out. I try to tread lightly, especially if you're brand new. If you've been here, you know, like I speak with as much love as possible, but I also, I was born to have my stinger, right? Like if I wasn't meant to have my Scorpio stinger in my moon sign, which rules our heart, you know what I mean? Our love and all that kind of stuff. But it's because the Sagittarius doesn't have a lot of tact, right? Like as Sagittarians, we just kind of like say it like it is. But I've been learning over the years that, you know, tact goes a long way, especially when someone is struggling with something. We don't want to make them feel worse. And in the past, I started to see patterns of my behavior. And the more I started to study astrology and Sagittarius and understanding my chart and who I am, I'm like, okay, that's why I'm like that. That's why I was like that. That's why, you know, because you know, I had a lot of people in my life to be like, you either love her, talking about me. They'd say, you either love her or hate her, meaning me. They're like, you either love her and you love that because she's always going to tell you the truth. She's always going to be honest. You can trust her, you know, blah, blah, blah. They're like, but that's the thing. She's always going to tell you the truth. She's always going to be honest. And if you don't like that, you need to step off, right? Like you need to go somewhere else. So, yeah, I'm just going to say it really quick, like ripping off a Band-Aid. Mama's got to go. Bye-bye. She birthed you. Thank you. Bye-bye. She has no power over you. She has no power in your life, and she does not need to be in your life at all. I had to let my mom go, and my mother passed away last year, and it was really, really difficult. I have people who have worse relationships with their mothers than I had with mine, and they're still talking to them. And they'll say, Lula, I don't understand. I don't know why my life is like this. I don't know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, are you still talking to your parents? They're like, yep. I'm like, well, there you go. I'm like, are you still dealing with this person and that person? They're like, yep. I'm like, are you still living in that situation? Are you still working at that job? It's simple math. And I know, again, you know, oh, but I can't quit my job or I can't stop talking to my mom or I can't blah, blah, blah. Yes, you can. You just need the power and encouragement. Maybe you just needed this today. You know that you have a community of people here that love you, that will surround you. We will be your mothers. You know, we will help mother you when you need it. Because here's the thing. If you're having a thing with your mother that's not really a mother, it's like, then what's the point of that relationship? If you took the title off and away and they weren't your mother, they were just a person, would you have them in your life? You know, you can answer or not answer, but I'm saying you can answer in your head or you can answer with us. It's like, you know, but you know what I'm saying? If you had someone that was constantly in your orbit that was making your life hell and you were miserable, would you keep them there if they weren't your parent or your child or your friend or your boss? Because that's the new world. That's the new earth, is people go to this job because they need to. People stay around their family because they're like, oh, I have to. It's my mom. Oh, I have to. It's my kid. Your kid can be an asshole. I'm sorry to say it, but you can, even if you were a drug addict, junkie parent, and your kid hates your fucking guts because you were a horrible person, but you have come back around, have changed who you are, and gone through and have or are going through the healing and are trying, and your kid is still being mean to you or still blah blah blah. It's like that they haven't healed that. They signed on to be your kid just as much as you signed on to be their parent. It's called forgiveness. And we were just talking about this, if you're, like we were saying, Alana's new here. And for those of you who are new here, before a long time ago, that's why if you look in my playlist, you'll see moon readings. I still do them, but Spirit had me like do all of the cycles, all 8 cycles. We did 8 readings a month for a long time, like a year and a half. Like we were really diligent. That's when we really grew our tribe. And we learned that with every moon cycle, it's not just the new moon, the waxing, you know what I mean? It's like they each have an energy as well. And so we want to work with that energy. Right now, we are in the 6th moon phase, the waning gibbous of reflect and release. And I feel like that's why you're here, because coming up in a few days when Mercury goes retrograde on the 17th, it's also the 7th moon phase, the 3rd quarter / last quarter moon, the 7th cycle of transition and forgiveness. You can transition and forgive. You can transition out of any relationship and forgive it. I feel like the next several weeks from now to the end of the year, buckle in, you guys, because it is seriously going to be one hell of a fucking ride with the retrogrades, everything, just everything that's going to happen. Not to mention, we have more retrogrades coming. So, what retrogrades do is they have us look at something again. We need to find out, and obviously your dad, which can I just tell you right now, I love your dad. Like I can feel his energy, and but I do feel like he does want. So when he was like the not so good guy, was that his younger years? How old was your dad when he passed? Because he's showing me a lot of different things all at once. And sometimes when I see so much at once, because timelines are a human thing, unless they're very specific, I don't get it all. When I used to do readings, oh, he died at 67. Of course he did. 67 is okay. So when you mirror 67, it's 76, but either way, it's a 13 number. I told you today's the 13th, and it's the number of the divine feminine and the goddess. Okay, so he was naughty. Okay, that makes sense. That's what he was trying to show me, was that he was just like that, he wasn't the best version, but in the end he was. And boy, he loved you fiercely. And he just passed. Wow, that shows, oh, I'm so sorry, my love. But that shows you how fucking powerful your dad is, that he just died 2 weeks ago and he's already here. Sometimes it takes a while. When I was coming into my gifts, I went to a channeling circle, and that's where a medium comes in and other people sit around a group, and the medium just channels people that want to cross over and talk to people. And my dad, I was working on my gifts at the time with her. She was one of my shamans, one of my teachers. And or actually no. Yes. Anyway, it was so long ago. It was like 11 years ago or something, or 12, I don't know, 13. I don't even know how many years ago it was now. But long story short, I could not talk to my dad. Like there were signs, like a few days after my dad died, there were 3 moths in a row above my bed, at the foot of my bed, in a row, like perfectly. Like you can measure them with it was crazy. And they were big, like those big ones, beautiful. And they were all like different, but kind of looked the same. It was so powerful and cool. And then I realized my dad was coming to me in moths, but my dad didn't come through until I went to her channeling circle. And it was like maybe a month after my dad died. So in my experience, that when people come through shortly after they pass, they were very powerful in life, and they were very powerful in death. They just changed energy. You're having that too. I'm just learning myself. I'm seeing signs, but finding it hard to connect with him. Yeah, that's okay. That's why you came here today, because your dad's trying to show you right? Like in the one card that we spoke of earlier in the reading, that's why he wants you to watch this from the beginning when it's over, is because in one of the cards we spoke about that, about trusting yourself and trusting your intuition. He is talking to you, but maybe like you're looking for something else. In that same channeling circle, there was this woman who said, my mom passed 2 years ago. She's never sent me a sign, and all these people, these readers, how come they tell me I have gifts, but how come I can't talk to her? And then the my shaman was like, let's just say Jasmine. She was like, Jasmine, she's been coming to you through Jasmine. And she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, she's showing me that right after she died, you were somewhere and you saw a jasmine plant or you smelled jasmine. And she's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. She goes, that was her. She goes, and then you were somewhere else and they were selling jasmine plants and you bought a jasmine plant. And she goes, that was her. You know what I mean? So it's like, sometimes the signs could be, it's the repetitive thing. They don't know. Sometimes when people leave their human avatar, depending on where they are in their level of consciousness in their humanity form, sometimes they can get lost in like, the abyss, right? That's where we see ghosts, or like, you can feel something or you can see something like an apparition, but it's kind of there, but it's not there. It's like, sometimes when they haven't fully like crossed into anything, they're kind of lost. Some people call it purgatory, there's many names for it, right? In different cultures and religions, but it's like the in-between place. Some people call it the fourth dimension, right? Because the third dimensional energy is like that dark, shadowy, controlling energy on the planet that was there. And then we have like kind of the in-betweens, like they like the gutters, right? It's like the connectors between the dimensions. Now Earth has gone back in 1969, right? Like she came back into the age of Aquarius, and we've been pulling like the planet back into the fifth dimensional energy, which is where Earth started, in the fifth dimensional energy with free will. We always knew this was what was going to happen. Earth is a training ground. It's a school for the soul. There are billions of other like planets, and you know what I mean? The universe is so vast. Our human brain, it's like wants to try and comprehend the universe. And the whole point is we're not meant to know. We know when we know, right? So your father, I think it's so powerful. And the reason why I act like that, because my birthday is December 13th. And so 13 has been my lucky number forever, even though to everybody else it's been the unlucky number. Well, why has it been the unlucky number? Men did that. The divine masculine did that because they knew that 13 was actually the number of the divine feminine, of the goddess energy. And they wanted to smash it down so they can control it. They thought they can try and manipulate Gaia, as if you can fucking manipulate her. She's an organism. She is a living, breathing thing. We are seeing with the floods and the volcanoes and tsunamis and all that. It's like, she's like, we're ants, man. She's like, fuck you, get the fuck off. You know what I mean? She's like, get the fuck off me. So that's why I keep saying to everybody, just keep in the high vibration, keep in the love vibration. And that's where your dad wants you to be, because, you didn't come here to play small, Alana. You have gifts. I have no idea. Like I don't know if that's just do you have a channel? Because it says guided by Malcolm's light. So I don't know if you have a channel or if it's something new or you were called to. I don't know if you're a reader, but you are obviously a light worker. You would not be here otherwise. And I don't know if you identify with being an earth angel. That's between you and spirit, but definitely a light worker. So you have a channel. Okay, good. And we'll connect together, and I will support you and subscribe you on your journey as well. So, we are coming together. I kept wanting to give up on my channel because people would come to my channel and they'd be like, I don't understand it, man. I go to these other channels and they're not even nearly as like gifted as you are. And they've got like 100,000 subscribers. And I'm like, first of all, I'm like, you can buy likes, you can buy comments, you can buy subscribers. So that doesn't fucking I have done all of my channels from a grassroots. And if you bought yours, that's okay. I don't judge anybody for it. All I'm saying is that I walked the old way. I've always walked the old way. That is my journey. That is my path, is to walk the old way. And what that means is I don't buy shit. I believe in divine timing is basically that is the definition of that for me. Walking the old way is going in the flow and walking in divine timing. I've always known I was going to be wealthy. I always known I was going to be famous. And throughout my life, I, did things, shady things, whatever. My karma is where it's supposed to be. My dharma is where it's supposed to be. So, it's like all of us are on our own individual path. And whatever is happening in that divine timing the way it's supposed to. Why? What's today? She said, she's like, I can't believe I found you today. Was it like 2 weeks ago today that he passed? Because you said 2 weeks ago. I was about to go look on my phone. Like I don't think I can. I don't think I can look at stuff while it's on live. I never fuck with it because I don't want to fuck up the connection. But that's interesting. So what I was trying to get to is that the number 13 is just so powerful and potent to me. And your father, you know, died when he was 67. And so, you know, that's the number 13. And it's also the number 4, which is about balance and building a strong foundation. So maybe that's what it is. He died the 22nd of June. Okay, so what's today? Oh my gosh, that's interesting. So he died on the 22nd of June. That was episode 7 of Sacred Sunday, and it was about shadow work. So you may want to go and work with that. You may want to go look at some of the old other readings. I have playlists there too. And in my shorts. The shorts I post every single day in my shorts, unless sometimes Spirit will have me turn my phone off, but like they've been amping me up for this for a long time. I've been preparing for this ascension for a long fucking time. I've taken a lot of time off, but now is when they need us most. But now also I think it's interesting because Saturn, you know, went retrograde today. Mercury's going retrograde on Thursday, and next week Leo's coming in, and then we've got the new moon in Leo. Then we have the Lionsgate portal. Chiron's going retrograde at the end of the month. Like there's so many things happening all at once. So do you want to ask your dad anything? Because I really genuinely feel like he brought us to connect us together, and he did give you your own card, the joy permeated mother. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. So I feel like your dad's just trying to get you to believe in yourself. And my love, I'm telling you now, you can do it any way you want to do it. Your dad is telling me. I couldn't go cold with my mom. I tried, but my mom, like, I had to finally, like, I tried telling my mom for a long time that, luckily at the time I was writing a book, and I said to my mom, I was like, you know, I'm going to be going off grid for a long time. And so, you know, I told my whole family, but I didn't talk to them for months and months and months and months. And then my mom would like randomly send me a text, and then I wouldn't respond. And, you know, she'd send me another text and I wouldn't respond. And then my stepfather died, and my mom called me when he died, and I knew I was supposed to pick it up. And the interesting thing was my mom called to tell me about his death. We were on the phone for 6 hours. And I told her at the end of the phone call that I didn't know if we would ever talk again, and that I loved her, and, you know, all these things. And she kept trying and kept trying. My aunt passed during that time, who was like a mother to me, and I didn't respond. And then my birthday, my mom called and left me this message, and it was just like, she was hysterical, like hysterically crying. And she's like, I don't understand. Why? She's like, are you never going to talk to me again? I don't know what I did. And I was like, oh my God. And it was like, and I was in the time, I was in the shadow, I was in the dark night of the soul. Like I was in the thick of it, and I was pissed. I was like, she ruined my fucking birthday. I was having the best birthday ever. And because usually my mom would sing to me, and she didn't sing to me. She made it all about her. And, you know, it was like, you know, 50 years ago today, you know, you were my baby. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, thank you. Thank you for confirming why I stopped talking to you, because she made everything always about her, and she didn't realize it. And it's because she was a victim. And then she kind of fell into this victim role, and then she just like snowballed with it. And then like, it's like her, and then she hid behind her Christianity. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, and then my mom died last year, and I went through a whole fucking horrific thing with that, which if you watch any of my old videos, you'll know. But, you know, so it's not easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it says, okay, just if he has any message to help me with the pain of not having him around, and if we did well with this funeral. My mom left us as children, and my dad brought us all kids up on his own. I just like her very much. My mom is the same. I say something to her and she just cries and makes it all about her. Exactly. So that's a narcissist. You know what I mean? Like and I'm not saying, here's the thing. I don't ever call people names anymore like that. I would say that's narcissistic behavior, but it's taught. So most likely she was taught by a parent or a family member, or, who knows? Who knows? It's like everybody goes through their own thing. I can look through my own lineage and my past and my family and tell you, I can almost and tell you exact moments of when a person became a certain way. You know what I mean? When that fucking switch flipped. Because sometimes it does happen like that, where a switch is like bam, and you watch it and you're like, yeah, that was the day. That's the day they shut down. That's the day they stopped being themselves. Um, Especially, rape victims and abuse victims, right? Like that, it's like that wall comes up that day, the heart chakra, whatever it is. So, um, okay, so first of all, let's talk about the funeral, because he wants to talk about that. Let's drink some water and take a breather. And he wants you to breathe. Are you crying? Or are you having an intense? Because I'm feeling like he's telling me to tell you to breathe. He's holding your hand. He's with you right now. He's trying to be funny. I get the feeling he used laughter as an icebreaker. So yeah, okay, so it's your anxiety. So he's using laughter as he's bringing up, I just said it in one of my recent videos from Steel Magnolias, where he's like, laughter through tears is my favorite emotion, right? Dolly Parton says it when they're all like fucking freaking out, in the beauty shop. Everybody's like having a meltdown. The Shelby's having a fucking a diabetic attack, everything's, and the whole thing. So he's kind of showing me that, like, he was your rock. He helped you, stay steady. But also, and this is, remember that he went when he was supposed to go. So he wants me to preface this by saying this, because it's very important that you hear that first. He was always going to die at this age. He was always going to die that way. It was always going to happen that way. There's nothing anybody could have done, changed, done different. Nothing was going to change. Okay. Um, but he kind of said something about the funeral, like, well, so what was the thing? Because he said something like it could have gone better. So I don't know if that means that somebody was there and they stood up and spoke and like fucked things up, or like maybe your mom was there and made it about her. I don't know. Maybe she showed up. Maybe they're divorced but she showed up. I don't know. But like, let's just put it this way. I feel like whatever you're feeling, like that the funeral didn't go the way that you thought he should have it go, it went the way it was supposed to go. So keep that in mind as well, right? Like keep that in mind as well, right? Like the funeral, like everything goes the way it's supposed to go. Even if you don't understand it at the time, even if you know what I mean? Like it's, oh, that's what it was. Holy shit. Yeah. Yeah. Like in a perfect world, she would not have been there. He didn't want her there. I kind of feel like nobody wanted her there. And I feel like, okay, so everybody right now, especially with the light workers, each of our family has an ancestral breaker. That's you. That's you, babe. You're the ancestral breaker. You're the one that is going to be, yeah, she turned up on her own. And that right there tells you how fucking selfish, my dad's having me show this. So my father really did try in the end. But there were definitely times in both my parents' lives where they were just utter assholes. Like they did asshole things and, whatever. But I remember after my parents got divorced, my dad didn't want the divorce. And my mom's parents were like my dad's parents. My dad's parents were both alcoholics, and my mom's parents didn't drink. So they were more like real parents. And my dad was in the middle of 8 kids, and it was almost like they didn't give a fuck. They weren't there. My mom used to tell us that like at family parties, my grandparents would like pass out at the dinner table. You know what I mean? My mom said one time my grandmother like passed out in her mashed potatoes, and they literally had to pick her face up out of her food because she couldn't breathe. So I understand why my dad felt abandoned, you know, because my parents got together when they were 17 and 18. So he didn't have much of parents. And then he had my mom's parents for 18 years that were like his parents. So literally, like more than half of his life, a year more than half of his life, my mom's parents were like his parents. He went fishing with my grandfather. They were best friends. That, you know what I mean? So when my parents got divorced, it was the hardest on my dad in some ways because it was like everybody just like were like, bye. So my dad was always trying to impress everybody and prove like his worth kind of thing. And my dad showed up to my grandfather's funeral, which is my mom's dad. It's not his dad, but it was my mom's dad. And my mom was one of six brothers and sisters. She was the oldest. So it was just like a very sour mouth experience. You know what I mean? Where like everybody was like, why is your dad here? And I'm like, oh, he told me he might come. You know, this is before cell phones and shit, right? I'm in my 50s. So so my dad was wearing the shirt. My dad had a TV show. He was part of this outdoor group, and I forget the name. He had a column in a outdoor magazine, and then it led to like this channel. Like he did a local cable channel for fishing and all this. So my dad shows up in his outfit with his name on his shirt for his channel and everything. And he's like bragging to everybody about how good he's doing. And, you know, like he didn't say any, he didn't ask one person how they were doing. He didn't, it was all about him. And then later he was like, you know, he was like my father too. And I go, but he's not your father. And I said, and if you were going to come, if you had come with some grace and without ego, you know, and of course my languaging was different back then, but right. But like, so he was coming in trying to puff himself up, trying to prove himself because my mom left him. Right. So it was like it was so grotesque, really. My mom didn't show up to his parents' fucking funeral. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, but that was like, he had to make it about him. So I feel like your dad is saying, like, that's what he was saying. Everything else, I literally heard him say, everything else was chummy. Like, he was just like, everything else was good. Like, I feel like it was good. And she overstayed her welcome, though. I do get that. Did she show up for food, too, or like something after? Because I just get this vibe. Either that or like she was in, he's showing me that. Like, he's having me replay that. I'm watching my thing with my dad, like I'm watching a movie, and he's kind of showing me the same thing with you and like your family. Like it was almost like your mom kept interjecting herself, you know, and because of the kids. Yeah, exactly. Yes, she said, yes, she went to the wake. Yeah. So, you know, it's just, and so here's the thing. Here's the takeaway from that. She ain't going to change. Not most likely she won't change in this lifetime. I'm not going to speak for her. You know, she has free will. She may change. I don't know. They're not showing me, but you know, you are the apple of his eye. You're his angel of his heart. Like literally, these are words he's saying. So like, don't even, are you the youngest? Because if you're not, I just feel either that or you're like the closest or, you know, because it was when you first started, I thought you were an only child. And then when you were talking about your mom, I saw three kids. So you're the youngest girl. Okay. I definitely felt the youngest. But yeah, like you are definitely his baby, which by the way, Sag sister, so am I. I'm the youngest as well. At one point, I had a dinner party with a bunch of my friends, and we didn't realize until that exact moment. Like I used to have dinner parties all the time, or we'd all hang out together, whatever. But I don't think a lot of us realized until that moment that like 7 out of 9 of us were the youngest. We were all the babies, and I said, "Isn't that interesting?" You know. And then the siblings that we had the most problem with were the oldest. And I was like, isn't that interesting too? Right? So I don't know if you have that as well, but I had to throw that in there. Because parents have different relationships with their children in general and with their children in general. But it's so funny. I'm hearing so many things from my spirit guides right now. Yeah, so she says, I was very close to him and spoke and saw him most days. Yeah, that's why. That's why you're feeling that. That's why you're feeling that disconnect. That's why he brought you here today. Because, I love you. I hold space for you. Also, look at this. Oh my gosh. There is an ant. So, can you see it? Oh, shoot. It's at the top of the box. Did you see it? Now, of course, it went. Um, but ant has been a spirit animal that we've been working with a lot. So work with ant spirit medicine. It will really help you. Work in the light of it and the shadow of it. We work with all different spirit animals, but the fly has been coming around a lot, and ant. And I know people be like, "Oh yeah, duh, it's summer." No, no, no. Take away that third dimensional. Oh, I don't want to see it for what it really is. I just want to see that an ant's an ant. No, an ant has a purpose. A fly has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. Like earlier, Jessica was on here and she woke up to a crow outside her window. And, it's like all these things that have been going on with her ex-husband who's crossed over. You know what I mean? It's like everything happens for a reason. Things are going to get easier for those who are striving and thriving in the fifth dimensional energy. Things will get tougher and will get harder for those who are in shadow and are not seeing. Like, it's one thing if you're in shadow, like working through the dark night of the soul shadow, like you're in the spiritual side of the dark side, but there's one, but not like the sitting American president, right? Like that fucking, you reap what you sow. Keep doing it. Keep fucking doing it. Go ahead. Because Kali Ma is reared and raring to go, man. She's out there. She's fighting the good fight now. Right. But karma is very, very real. She's out there too. And she doesn't forget an address. All of this, watch it unfold. Watch it. You're going to see so many things happen. Also, I don't know where you live in the UK, but Anna, who's our, I always call her, she's the magical medium president because she's been with us one of the longest. She's been one of our longest tribe members. She and I found each other. We've never met in person. We've only like seen each other through Zoom, and we email each other and like message each other and stuff and on here. But like Anna and I have never met physically in person, and she's absolutely my sister. Without a doubt, we have lived in other lifetimes together. And if you are feeling that kinship with us, like we feel with you too, I feel that with you. Maybe you and Anna are meant to meet. I mean, everything happens for a reason. Divine timing is so beautiful. And I know that fucking, Britain's, England's a big place, but I'm just saying, like, you never know, so we'll have to find out, like, let me know where you're from. I know where Anna's from, but it just like escaped me right now, which is really bizarre. So maybe she's meant to tell you in the comments or something. Okay. So, I love that you wrote, I love in Worcestershire, but I think it's awesome that, wait, am I saying Worcestershire like the Shire? Is it Worcestershire? You know what I mean? Is it like the sauce? I don't mean to sound American and ignorant, but I just want to know. But I just think it's cute that you said I love. So that it's like, okay. So I'm saying it right. Okay. Awesome. Cool. But maybe you guys are meant to connect on some level. I've been trying to get Anna out of her living space forever. Like, I don't know if you're looking for a roommate or if you're happy where you are, maybe you're married and have kids. I don't know, but maybe you know somebody, or maybe you're in an area that is like meant for her. But I've been feeling Glastonbury for her for a really long time. And, and I don't know if she's meant to live there or just travel there, or we've spoke about it frequently with the tribe, so I know she'd be okay with me talking about it. But during various readings and communications with spirit, it's come up. So it wouldn't surprise me if you guys were meant to connect on some level, because I felt your energy in such a beautiful, loving way, like almost instantly. And Anna's very similar. But it helps to be around other mediums and other light workers, earth angels, witches, whatever languaging, terminology, label feels healthy for you. All of that it's all there, for a reason. So, and it could even just be to have somebody that you can connect with, maybe is, on a different level. I don't know. But Anna, I call her the president of Magical Medium because I've only met maybe on two hands in my 53 years, earth angels as special as Anna. I mean, just no judgment, just such a loving heart, such a natural. I mean, of course she has shadow like everybody else, of course. I mean, it's silly to say that, but she wouldn't, But I'm saying like I had like this one manager for a job named Valerie. She comes to me sometimes. She's crossed over, and she was just like, she just reminded me of like the little fairy witch from Cinderella in the blue. Like she was just so magical, and there are just some of us on this planet that just hold a higher capacity for love than others. It's just a fact. And I feel that energy from you, Alana. So it makes sense that your mom would want to come in and like steal your light and steal your thunder. And even with your dad, um, did your dad, you said your mom left your dad, but it feels like your dad left your mom though. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever, like I feel, especially when you say that your dad cared more about you guys than your mom. And the sad thing with your mom is that's programming. I feel like it's her mom. A lot of times when like I would talk about my grandma like she was the second coming, like the most beautiful magical creature, and my mom would say she wasn't your mom. She's like, you get to have her as a grandma, right? Like, because a mom energy and a grandmother energy are very different, right? We have the maiden mother crone for a reason. We're in the maiden. You're learning, you're growing, then the mother, we're taking that knowledge, and we're expanding, we're maybe having a child and, getting more into that mothering energy. Then we go into the crone where we're more of an acceptance of who we are and what we are and where we come from and understanding the process, right? Especially as a woman, we know what it feels like when we get our period for the first time. We know what it's like to have a period every month and deal with that, and deal with our moon, whether it's the bloodletting or it's just the energy connected to the moon, right? And we're mostly made up of water. Our heart energy is a water source, right? It's like the moon, like we're like pulled from the moon. So it's like all of these things that are pulling constantly at our heartstrings, pulling, pulling, pulling. And, so it makes sense. We go through all these different evolutions. I mean, boys go through that too, right? They go through their voice changes, their bodies changes, their penis size grows just like our breast size grows. And, it's like all of that, right? Like, I remember the first time I got pubic hair, and you're just like, your hair starts growing under your arms, you know what I mean? It's like, we're just like, what are we? What are we? What are we? And then over, centuries and centuries, we've just been like blindsided by our ability to understand our own knowing of self by all these different things. Then here comes the internet, which just put us on fucking steroids of like what you should be, who you should be, like keeping up with the Joneses. We've been talking about this a lot lately, watching these people, with the plastic surgery, trying to be pretty, trying to be different. I mean, I'm all about somebody supporting themselves, absolutely. I mean, I saw something recently where, I'm paraphrasing, but it was Kylie Jenner. And if you see pictures of Kylie when she was really young and you see pictures of her now, you would never in a million years say that little girl is going to grow up and look like that, right? Her lips, her eyes, her bone structure, her nose, like all those things, like even though we change and evolve and grow, right? Like over our lifetimes, our ears keep growing, our nose keeps growing, like all those. Like I remember when I was growing up, people would say, your ears are so tiny, you have the smallest little ears, or they'd be like, you have this little cute button nose. And I did. I looked like Cindy Lou Who. I had white hair, from like, the Grinch. I literally like the cartoon version of like the little girl. I looked just like that. I mean, I was so innocent with my big blue eyes and my white blonde hair and my fair, perfect, milky skin and my little button nose. Like I looked like her, but I don't look like her anymore. I noticed recently, I'm like, wow, my nose is getting really big. Like, and it's not like, it's not a bad thing. It's just that I'm just noticing how much my face is changing. I'm like, I need a new haircut. I need a new look. Like, I don't feel like I look like me. I think that's natural. Oh, that's so cute. She says I have small ears and small nose too, right? Like, so it's like, so I feel like maybe we chose that because we were meant to have these smaller features, right? So they were small when we were little, and then like because we're gonna grow into them. But even Kylie said herself, like, I was never gonna look like this. And she right now says that she's grateful and all that. But of course, there's moments where I'm sure her daughter, there will be conversations where that comes up. There was a lot of people that were very angry when Kris Jenner allowed her to get plastic surgery because she was still a teenager. Any type of augmentation, breast or otherwise, I think is something that should not happen until they are a legal adult. I think a parent signing on to do that, I mean, if it's something where the child really hates themselves and the parent is like, you don't understand, I'm like, I don't understand that, because I'd want my child to love themselves for who they are and be like, when you get to that age, if you want to change that, that's fine. But that who am I to say? it's like individual parenting. I'm not going to tell somebody what to do, but you know, I personally would never want to put foreign things into my chest, but I had a friend who used to joke and say she was an inverted A, you know, because she was so flat. She's like, I've been with guys who have bigger boobs than I do, you know. So I get that, you know. But then she had children and she's like, oh my God, she's like, dude, I mean, she literally was like, I don't mean to be weird, but I want to show you a picture of my tits. Like she literally was like, can I send you a picture? She's like, just because we've known each other since like we were younger. And she's like, you wouldn't even, but, and I go, no, I saw it in your pictures, like in the cleavage and stuff, you know? And then when I went to stay with her, she was still breastfeeding and stuff. And so she's like, look at my boobs. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy for you. You know what I mean? Like I was really genuinely, she got to see what that felt like. She was so excited. She loved it. She loved it. Who am I to fucking say, you know? But I also have to say, when I saw the wedding of the century, right, that they were calling themselves, you know, the Amazon leader of and his bride to be, like, that was freaky to me because I was like, every single one of those people were beautiful just the way they were. You know, when I saw the before and after pictures of his new wife, I was like, I can't think of her name right now, but I was like, she was really beautiful, really, really, really naturally beautiful. I was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, my gosh, she could have just like got better treatments or something. You know what I mean? I'm like, but maybe that's what she wanted. She wanted to have boobs and she wanted to have cheek plans and she wanted a different nose and she wants those big lips. Like, you know, if that's what she wants, then that's what she wants. So it's like, it's like, it's a slippery slope. It's a very fucking slippery slope. So just make sure that like, it's like with tattoos. I have 17 tattoos and I would always say that they'd be like, what was your, like, what started it? And I was like, well, I always told myself if I was going to get a tattoo, I wanted to live with it for a year. So like when I knew I wanted a gypsy, I was like, okay, I I've wanted a gypsy my whole life, but I really was like, no, now I feel like this is where I'm meant to be because I'd moved like 30 times, lived in 5 states, traveled all over the world. I was like, I'm done. Like, I want to just like, I feel like I want to anchor in this area. I'm like, so I said, I want to put my gypsy on my arm. And I studied gypsy tattoos for like a year, all different kinds, from French Nouveau to like the sailor, the old school. And then I finally was like drawn to this tattoo parlor I'd never been to. I didn't even know it was there. And I found this guy. We started drawing together. And I was like, dude, that's exactly what I want. My tattoo was beautiful. I mean, I gave him free range. I said, I only want a few special things. And the one thing that I told him not to do was to fuck with the hair. And he did. And I was so angry at him because he ended up fucking up my tattoo. And I was really pissed. And then he tried to go back and over it. And I felt like I felt like he was ripping my arm open. And he was such a child. And this was somebody who I did another tattoo with, who I really loved, had this really great connection with him. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to get another tattoo with him. But who knows where he was in his process or what was happening. But I found out later he ended up getting fired because he had anger issues. And I could feel it when he was working on my tattoo. And there are certain aspects of it that I love and certain aspects that I'm like, no, because he was not sticking to the plan. And he's like, well, I think it looks better this way. And I go, well, you know what? It's not on your fucking arm. It's on my arm. It's your work of art. I paid you to fucking draw the art. I'm like, and I showed you what I wanted differently. And he's like, it's not going to show up the way you want it to. I go, I don't fucking care. I go, it's not your, I go, there's a reason why I did it this way. I said, because I was born a blonde, white hair, like white blonde hair. And then in my 30s, or off and on throughout my life, I went red, all different shades of red. And I was black, brown. I've had my hair purple, green, pink, you know what I mean? You name it, blue. Um, but I said, I was a redhead for 6 years, and that's when I felt the most like myself. But when I started stepping back into my work as a healer and a light worker, I knew it was time to like hang it up because what I realized my connection to the redhead was my shadow. It was like my more naughty side. It was my more like, I'll cut a bitch, fucking my Southside Chicago Kelly, you know? And those of you know I'm from Chicago. I call her my Southside Chicago Kelly because before I woke up to Tallulah, you know, I was born Kelly Ann, you know, Wazalowski, but then I became Kelly Varma, then I became Tallulah Kelly. And over the years, I've, you know, elevated and graduated into different versions of myself when I needed to. So it was very important to me that she had this red hair. And I even chose the color. And you know, I'll show you, maybe I'll put a picture in my community and show you guys. But I was so frustrated because he kept putting in these streaks of orange and I did not fucking want the orange in there. I was like, if I wanted orange in there, I would have put orange in there, or I would have said, yeah, that's okay. I'm like, so, you know, even tattoos, it's like anything you want to do that you want to make a permanent change. Now I got this, I don't know, 14 years ago or something, 13 years ago. But I could have it covered up. I could go in and have it touched up. I could, you know what I mean? And I probably will eventually. But it's like, why should I have to go through that pain again when I fucking told you the first time to do it? And I'm like, because somebody wants to do it their way. This is what Spirit's been trying to show us. Like, I don't want somebody in my life or somebody who's carving a fucking needle into my arm, you know, who's going to do whatever they want without thinking about what I want or what my story is, especially with a tattoo. Every tattoo I have on my body is a story that tells this, my life. You know, I've been getting tattoos since I was 23 years old. So for 30 fucking years, I've been getting tattoos. And I have pieces too, you know, not just words or a fluffy little fucking heart, which is fine if that's all you have. I'm just saying, like, you know, some people are like, oh, I want to, you know, get a tattoo with my friend. I'll get a little heart. Sure, that's cute, you know. But like for me, this is like the story of my life. And I always knew if I were ever going to get tattoos that it was, I started getting tattoos before it was cool, before it was popular. You know, people called me dyke and, you know, really ignorant, horrible things, especially because my first tattoo was an AIDS ribbon. You know, so like people are people. People are people, so why should it be? You and I should get along so awfully, right? But people are people. And everybody on this planet is going through their own level of consciousness, where they are, what they're dealing with, what they're, you know, the fact, getting back to your mom, Alana, it's like, and the fact that your mom, my dad, like people like that just show up to funerals and just show up to a wake and just, you know, it's like, you don't have a right, you know, and now, especially now that Saturn's in retrograde, this is where people, you know, we're going to see a lot of shit happen. So much that I think a lot of us are going to be like, wow, I did not see it going down like that. So trust the process, trust your instincts, you know. But I feel like for now, your dad just wants you to stay in your flow, is literally what he's saying right now. Just your dad's saying, stay in your flow. And I feel like there's something else you want to ask him, though. He's with you all the time. He's really powerful, too. A lot of times when spirits cross over, they don't know how to attach or connect, you know? It's kind of like in the movie Ghost, where he keeps like putting his hand through things, but he doesn't know how to actually move it. And that's when he goes to that ghost that teaches him, and he goes, because you're trying to move it like you're still alive, like your hand is there. He's like, your hand's not there. You think you're a human. You think you're still alive. He's like, you're not alive. You're alive, but you're not in a human form. Yeah, your dad is very powerful, and something big is coming. I feel it too. That's why Spirit had me start Sacred Sunday. We haven't done this. You'll see there's another playlist there. We've done this before, but we hadn't done it in years. When Spirit called me to do this again, I knew that this was for something much bigger than I can understand. Even like recently, one of the places I'm living, I live in a RV, and I can go wherever I want. And over the last several years, I've lived on many different properties in different places, really beautiful, really magical, and done work trades on farms and stuff like I spoke about earlier when I was talking about Sequoia and that horse, that 17-hand horse I worked with. And but the place that I'm in now, I'm really frustrated because it's just the energy's so fucking intense that I have days where I'm like, shit, dude, like, especially because it's summer, you could probably hear the traffic, right? And I'm like right off a really busy freeway, and it can just get out of control. Then on top of that, my landlord, it went from just like me being on the property, and then Like these people used to live on the property and they lost, you know, their lease on their place, or they lost their, you know, contract, and they had nowhere to go. And so he's like, you know, they're going to live on the other side of the property. And I love them. They're beautiful and spiritually minded and all that. But still, it's energy, right? It's like there's 4 humans, there's 5 animals. It's a lot. It's a lot of intense fucking energy. So I said, Spirit, please, God, please, like bring me somewhere else. Goddess energy, you know, bring me somewhere. Like I need to relax. I need to, you know, but no, I've been preparing for this for a long time. And in the area where I live on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington, there's like we don't get like the best cell reception and things like that. But like this area where I am, there's like it's like I'm in like a thoroughfare, so there's like a lot of businesses around me. So I think probably because they have Wi-Fi and stuff, or maybe it's like because there's not a lot of houses, but there's a lot of businesses, and so I realized, I'm like, yeah, because they want me to do this every Sunday, Sacred Sunday, right, Alana? If I wasn't doing this, I wouldn't have found you. You wouldn't have found me. You know what I mean? Or you found me. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we wouldn't have connected, is what I'm saying. It's like, this was all meant to be. So I know I'm meant to be here. And I've been saying to everybody, well, I'm going to keep doing Sacred Sunday every Sunday live, Pacific Standard Time at noon, until they tell me otherwise, because I go with the flow and divine timing of spirit. So I will keep this going. This train will keep going down this track until they say, nope, you're going somewhere else, or nope, you're going here, or nope, we're not going to do this anymore. They don't need you, you know, because I realized what I needed to do every Sunday was to anchor my light and my energy here. You know, as I've been doing this for 2 hours and 19 minutes and 56 seconds, every fucking, I mean, I lost count, but there have been like, I don't even know how many people. They'll show me at the end. At the end, I love looking back to see like 64 people. I'm like, even if people don't, you know, whatever, it's like they just, she says, it's so weird how I found you, but I'm glad my dad wanted me to connect with you. Ooh, please share. How did you find us? Yeah, you know, most people, if you don't know, and if you're new here, or if you've been here a while and you didn't know this, but when I started working with my shamans and slash teachers, it's the same thing. It's just a fancy word for teachers, or a different part of the world. They call it a shaman. But you know, shaman, a true shaman, because shaman's been thrown around a lot more loosely than it should be. You don't fucking throw on yoga pants and go to an ayahuasca ceremony and call yourself a fucking shaman, which people do. I've seen it happen. It's not the same. You know, a true shaman goes through hell and back. You know, in some countries and cultures, they take children that they know they have the gift, right? And they'll go and, you know, bury them in dirt, you know, with like a fucking straw for them to breathe out of for like a few days or something, you know what I mean? No food, no water, just a straw so they can breathe, you know, kind of thing. And they could dig themselves out, but the whole point is that they're not supposed to. It's supposed to be like, you know, how long can they stay in the earth? And they don't like put in a blanket, make it all cushy and cozy, you know what I mean? Oh, how cute. She said, you literally got recommended to me on my channel. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's divine intervention. By the way, I love that you put the X, and then I looked at the X where I would like stop it, like stop the video. And so that's so interesting. Like X marks the spot. Because also, you know, a lot of people say that X is the symbol for Jesus because it's like the cross sideways, you know. So that's interesting too. So most likely, you know, we knew each other in another life, you know, or we were related in another life, or all of the above. My right eye keeps twitching, and it hasn't twitched since we did one of these some time ago. So if any of you are having any eye twitches or things like that, that means that you are overspent. That means that you are not getting enough rest. You are not getting enough downtime. You are not getting enough quiet time in nature. So this is a sign from spirit, wink, wink, from your guides and all of your loved ones from the other side that are saying, get out in nature, be out there as much as possible. You know, some other shamans, they were showing me like, right, like in the outback, I think when they're like 7 years old, they have like a bow and arrow, and I think they have a vessel with water. I think they give them food, water, and a bow and arrow like when they leave or something, but it's not much. It's like enough to get them through a day. So like they have a vessel to carry their water if they need more water, and they like have a bow and arrow to catch their food. I mean, it's like, it's no joke, you know. They're meant to like go out, and you know, there are some cultures that don't do those things anymore because kids don't come back. But most of them do, because the whole point is like they're divinely protected, right? Like, so I mean, there's just, I mean, I can go into that too. Like, that's a whole cultural thing, especially where I live on the peninsula. There's so many Native American things that happen. Like, one of the tribes here, they finally just got their rights back to hunt whales, because when the sperm whale went on the extinction list, endangered species list, they weren't allowed to do it anymore until they said to them, you know, they fought it and fought it and fought it because they're like, are you kidding me? Like, do you think do you think that we can go on our little fucking wooden boat and catch a whale if it didn't want to be caught? So it's the sperm whales migrate on this side on the west side of the peninsula. And the Makah tribe, every year, their warriors would get in their handmade wooden boat and their handmade wooden oars, and they would go out to the deep waters while they were migrating. And an elder would give their life for them. And they would use that whale from tip to tail, all of it, from the blubber to the, you know what I mean, to make, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, they used that animal fully, 100%, one a year. And yeah, I will get to it. And so, it's like these tribes or these things, like, people really take spirituality sometimes in such a gross way where they don't want to honor like why these things are done, that these animals do genuinely like sacrifice themselves and give themselves to the people. They're gonna die anyway. So it's like, whether they're shark food or whatever, it's like they're there for a purpose. They're there for a reason. It's like hunting too. I'm a vegan. You guys know I'm all about like, but I know one of my white bear, one of my shaman, he lives, and like 50 acres, like off on a mountain by himself. He's never had electricity. He's never had running water. You know what I mean? Like, that he didn't do himself, like everything. He does everything himself. He hunts his animals. He tans their hides. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a whole different story. It's like when you look at Avatar, right? And she's like, this was the weak one, and they gave their life. But you give them a good, clean kill. And that's what they did. It's like the whale, they would give him a good, clean kill. I don't know. Anyway, I feel like that was for somebody. Okay, so can I ask more questions? Okay, can you ask Spirit if my dad is happy with my brother getting his house? I immediately heard no. My brother lived with him and treated my dad poorly. I literally heard no right away. In fact, I literally heard no, and then I heard he doesn't need any more enabling. So if you can get it away from him legally, I would do that. Or let him, if you, like, here's the thing. I'm getting this vibe from your dad. I don't know your situation or any other siblings or anything, but all your dad is showing me is that, like, you're going to be okay no matter what. But, like, if he goes into foreclosure and the house gets whatever, it's just going to be another lesson. It's just going to be another thing. Yeah. I mean, in quite honesty, it's like, I feel like it's kind of like you or nobody. In fact, I feel like if anything, your dad is saying a house is a house. Like, I'm getting a vibe like that the house be sold and like you guys like separate it between you he said amongst you. Also, I feel like there's a lot of bullying there. I don't know if your brother is bullying, like I'm hearing squatter, like we call them in the US, we call them squatters, like people who like take up residency and they're like, I'm not leaving until you like literally legally get me out of here. If you're new here, feel free to ask a question, because after this, I'm going to wrap it up. Whenever I start to lose my voice, I know that's Spirit telling me to let it go for the day. But we can continue this, Alana. If anybody else has a question, feel free to ask. Yeah, I kind of feel like whatever's going to happen, it'll be his own undoing, is literally the energy I'm getting from it. Oh my gosh, he just said Malcolm in the Middle, like that show Malcolm in the Middle. Like, I kind of feel like your dad was always in the middle of everything. Like, he was the peacemaker. Like, he's not unaware. is he saying? He's not unaware that this was going to be a trifling situation, that this was going to be an unsettling situation. Yep. He bullied my dad in a way, and he's being selfish with my dad's belongings. Yeah. Here's the thing. Your brother is just, he's like, let's put it this way. Your dad is trying to give me the best way to say this. He's a product of your mother. If that'll give you, you know what I mean? Like my brother, my sister, and I all grew up in the same house, but we all have a completely different experience with my parents, right? My sister was around for almost 5 years before I came around. So she's going to have a completely different experience with my parents. My parents were teenagers when they had my sister. Luckily, they came from big families, so they knew how to handle children. It just wasn't the same. You know what I mean? So, um, I'm hearing if you can't reason with him, just let it go. They're just things. Also, he just died. Like, everybody goes through grief differently. So go back to the beginning of this reading when we talked about not judging someone when they're, you know what I mean? Like that was what Spirit was trying to say at the beginning. The Divine Mother was the first card we pulled. And she was saying that, we, all of us on the planet right now, we have to come at this with love. There's literally no other way. There's no other way to get through it. There's no other way around it, right? Like I'm hearing one of my spirit guides like, there's no other way around it. One of my Southern family is like, that's just the way it is, Love is the leaderboard here, and the selfishness, all that kind of stuff, the ego, the narcissism, all of those things are just going to be played out and amplified on a big fucking scale over the next 2 years until things iron out. And they will. We're on the other side of it. We're just on the other hump of it. Spirit had me speak about this. Either check in the description box. I think it was either in the podcast Prophet or maybe it was in the group reading from the full moon. But oh, you're brilliant. Thank you. Right. So these kind of things, when they happen, these kind of dynamics that happen with the family. When my mom died last year. So just to give you like a little bit of like my background and my relationship with my brother, I hadn't spoken to my brother in 15 fucking years. And last year I found out my mom died because my brother went on one of my readings on my channel and wrote in the comments, "Mom died." But I guess you already know that since you're a medium. LOL. LOL. Like anything about my mother's dying was funny to me. My mother and I were like best friends. We were super fucking close for most of my life until I started to come into my gifts, and my mom's Christianity and me being a witch just was not going to align, especially when I kept telling my mom she was born on October 13th, which is like winning the lottery for witches, because October is like the witchiest of the witchiest. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's awful. That's my family. That's what I'm saying. It's like when we have people who are so fucking, they do and say things that are so gross, it's like you have to consider the source. Like my brother, my sister, and I all went through the same thing. But when I was 23, I was tired of my family and I was tired of all this. And I kept seeing the same thing over and over. So I moved away. I moved to Los Angeles, and that was the beginning. And that was it. And then I started moving around and trying to figure out where I am. Now I understand everything, but at the time I didn't know. It's because I'm a medicine bringer. Spirit puts me where I'm meant to go. And they'll push me out even when I'm not ready. Like I wasn't ready to leave my apartment, and like, my partner and I, like, we were so excited to like move into a tiny home, but we wanted to do it right. We were living in my studio. We were looking at RVs, and we were looking at turning, this was like, I don't know, 8-9 years ago. And then, my apartment, I lost my apartment. I lost my lease on my apartment, and we literally had nowhere to go. Literally. We raised between the two of us and our work, like, because we had to move, like, it was a long story, but anyway, I didn't want it to go to let's put it this way. I couldn't get a job. It was just like Spirit forced me into being what I am. I had never, ever, ever not been able to get a job. I didn't realize at the time that I was using my witchiness and my manipulation and, my gifts to get what I wanted when I needed it. I was using my beauty. I was using my sexuality. I was using every fucking tool in my box to get what I needed when I needed it, until that wasn't going to fly anymore. And when it didn't, I was fucked. And then I realized, like, and karma came for me. And before I knew it, I went from loving my life and loving my everything that was happening to my job, like the business that I was in that I loved closed. And that and they lied to me because I knew it was going downhill and we were trying to figure out a way for me to take over the business. Long story short, she lied to me to get me to this point, and then I lost my job on January 31st in sales, which is like in retail. I mean, it's like the kiss of death. That's like when it becomes fucking tumbleweeds and there's like no one shopping, right? I'm like, great. So I could not find a job, went on unemployment. Then, like, it just literally, it was like one thing after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other, until I was forced to become myself again. And it's taken me a good decade to like be this person and come back to this person. And you know what I mean? So it takes a long, time, but I had to go through it. I had to go through all of it, all the karma, all the shadow, all the pain, the suffering, the childhood trauma, everything, everything. And I don't know about your family, but like, it wasn't just verbal abuse. I mean, my dad was an alcoholic and he beat my mom and, before he got sober and just, I mean, just so many horrible things. And my dad married the woman that he had an affair with on my mom, and my mom married my dad's best friend. And just like, it was just so much fucking crazy, like nepotism. It was freaky. My brother married my stepsister. My mom and my stepmom hated each other and they had to share grandchildren. I mean, it's just like, there was just always chaos and drama. And my family would be like, you're full of drama. You're so drama. You're so drama. And I'm like, I'm fucking drama. I'm like, I'm surrounded by drama. I'm like, you guys are the drama. I'm just the big fucking mirror. I just didn't understand what I was. And you know what I mean? It's like I was the starseed planted in my family to blow that fucking shit up like a bomb. One day, I know that my extended family, my nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews and my extended family, like I know that they will figure it out, because every generation we get better, we get smarter, we get more connected, more in touch, but I was the lineage breaker. And if you found yourself to my channel, most likely you are too. Insert your story here. Alana, you're here to break this. So, I hope that you have a better relationship with your brother. But all I can tell you is that these things, all of that, it's like we need this. We are in the tower card. If the tower card was a fucking timeline, we'd be in it. And it's here for a reason. Call it revelations, call it whatever the fuck you want to call it, like wherever you come from, whatever part of the world, whatever religion, everybody has one. Every story, even in India, right? Like, or the Native Americans, like, we see these carvings, these wall carvings from like thousands of years ago, and they're like, it looks like a spaceship. It looks like a spaceship. It's like, it probably is, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I mean, I don't know what we're going to see or what's going to happen. But, we've all been here as star seeds. We've been planted here. We've literally been planted here. That's why they call us star seeds. We are anchoring the light source here and bringing the fifth dimensional energy back to what it was. And most people who find themselves on this channel were most likely at some point at the beginning of the inception of Earth as well. If you're a powerful light worker, medium, healer of some kind, most likely you're Lemurian, Atlantean, you know what I mean? Like some people believe that the Lemurians were the angels, the light. Some people believe the Atlanteans were the shadow and the darkness, but however you want to look at it, it's literally because you can pick apart anything, right? You can call anything a coincidence, or is it meant for your greatest and highest good? Your advice and personal experiences are amazing. I can listen to you all day. Do you do personal readings? I do. I also do recordings. So if you guys, if you want to work with me one-on-one, so here's the deal. I work on a sliding scale. I'll never like tell anybody no, but my base rate, if it's in your wheelhouse, is $125 an hour. Okay. But I'm never going to turn anybody away. And then I do recorded readings for, again, sliding scale, but like my asking is 85, because the only difference is that I'm still there and it's 100% you, but we're just not like, but if you like want to talk to me, other people are like, no, I want to talk to you, or I want to, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. We can do Zoom, we can do the phone call, that kind of thing. But I know that we're all in different time zones and things like that. So, also some people, I just do like a flat rate, because I know we're going to be on the phone for like 3 to 5 hours, and it goes by so fast, especially people who are really coming into their gifts and they're trying to understand certain things. An hour goes by so fast. So I just always say, I'll leave that between you and spirit. Some people give me $30, some people give me 300. It's really, it's literally like, I've tried it all different ways. I've tried it where I had set rates, and then I found that, because the truth is, because I'm a telepathic medium, I know when people are lying, and I know what they can and can't afford. So it's kind of like, if you do that, you're just cheating yourself. So like, you're fucking your own karma. I always tell people, I'm like, and in fact, I had one, and I bring this up a lot because it was somebody, the worst part about it is it was somebody I knew, and they wanted a reading, and we were on social media together. So they sent me a message. They kept rescheduling, and I was like, dude, you realize every time you reschedule, like, I can't book with somebody else, so I lose money, but also like, you're not committing to yourself, and that makes me feel like you're not taking this seriously. Would you reschedule your dentist appointment or doctor's appointment? Like, you have to think of it like that, like, or a therapist or whatever. So long story short, I rescheduled everything for them. They wanted it this one day, and I messaged them the night before and said, hey, we're still on for tomorrow, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, cool. Woke up in the morning, did all my, and when I do one-on-one sessions, they're way more intense, because I sit with spirit sometimes like an hour before, or like when people are really powerful, like your dad, they'll start coming through like the week before, or like, you know what I mean, a few days before, and it's just like, I'll have to like push them back and be like, I'm not ready yet, we're not ready yet, or they'll ask me to write something down. So like, that's why it's hard to put a price on what I do, because it's like, I can put my walls up and tell them no, but sometimes like, they'll be like, this will be connected. So I'll sometimes have like a whole page of notes that I take a picture and send it to the person before, because I'll say, I have reading guidelines that I send everybody just so they're kind of familiar with like what I do, and then I'll say, feel free to ask questions. And when I start the session, I'll say, do you want to ask questions, or do you want spirit to just tell you? And most people will say, oh, no, what did they say? Because they want to know what spirit has to say first. And then at the end, I'll be like, hey, did we get your questions? To be like, oh yeah, we did, and then some. So it always kind of works out the way it's supposed to. So anyway, so that friend's like, yeah, I'll be there in the morning. I got ready, I did all my notes, I did my meditations, everything. They're not calling me. I would have people call me, because I'm like, it's a lot of stress, and especially when people have jobs and kids and stuff. So I'd be like, okay, 1 o'clock, but like, it's okay if it's like 1:05, just like, don't push it, too far. My time is valuable too. So I'm waiting for them, and I'm waiting for them. And we had a time difference, like a big time difference. So I had to get up really early, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude? So I text them. They're not responding. I call them. They're not answering. So hours later, I go on their social media, and I seen that they had posted at the same time they were supposed to be in session with me. They were doing something on their social media at the gym. And I'm like, we're done. Like, literally, I texted them and was like, dude, I just fucking saw you on your social media at when you were supposed to be on the phone with me, and that was it for me. I was like, that was it. I was like, no more. So then I started charging people. I was like, no, you have to pay for your session first. And people are like, that's weird. Why do I have to pay you first? I'm like, because then you'll show up. I'm like, you'll always get, I'm like, the only time you won't get your money back, I tell people, yeah, that's what I'm saying. People do that though. That's what I'm saying. It's like, she's like, that's awful. People wasting your time like that, and it is, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, but that was a lesson too. You know what I mean? And I had to learn that they weren't really my friend. You know what I mean? Because a true friend would value my time. And so my friends, quote unquote, and my clients, quote unquote, and everything started to change and shift. And even now it's like, when I have my friends that are other light workers like me, we pen in things on a calendar and we let each other know. And if things don't come through that day, like we're like, okay, that's cool. But it's very rare, because we know how valuable someone's time is. So that's my thing. I want to work with people again one-on-one, and it is my divine pleasure to do so. But I haven't, the only people I work one-on-one with are usually my really close friends and other light workers. So you are more than welcome to work with me. But yeah, so usually like, I just will be like, yeah, can you give a deposit or something? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, so here's the thing. When you charge people, when you have people pay first, they show up. You know what I mean? Because I say right on, and I set up the guidelines too. I send the guidelines first, and and I say at the bottom, send me a confirmation to let me know that you received this, And by doing so, you are confirming that you agree to these terms. So that way, it's like if anybody tried to sue me or like whatever, like, and I went into small claims court or something, I would have it in writing, you know. So I've learned over the years to like kind of like protect myself. And I feel like I'm saying this to some of you. Maybe you're new light workers, or maybe you're thinking about becoming a medium and you're like, oh, money is a touchy subject. You know what? It's only a touchy subject because it's been made that way. And I went through that too, because I was so used to giving so much of myself away for free that I forgot what my worth was. And I don't want any of us to ever forget that. Now, you hear me say at the end of my readings, you know, I have links here, I have links there, you know, blah, 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 blah. You know, figure out this way, figure out that. Like, well, and you know what? That's actually making me push more too, because I don't think you guys get Venmo there. And I think it might be an American thing. So I've been pushing. I need to find a universal one. I looked into Buy Me a Coffee, but it's like 8%. And I just think that's a little fucking high. I think that's too high to take it. That's like if you know, when you borrow money from a bank, it's like, or like when you get a home loan, you know, they usually, I remember when home loans were like 6% was high. And then, you know, they were making some home loans like 20%, you know, all this kind of shit. And it's like, what the fuck? It's like, that's a house. Like, why do you get 20% interest for that? It just seems kind of, I don't know. There's just all these things. So I'm still figuring that out. I started doing the Buy Me a Coffee until I found out in the fine print that they're like, oh, we only charge 5%. Yeah, from the app, Buy Me a Coffee, but from the bank, they charge you too. So, you know, read the fine print. So I had, maybe this is pushing me to fix my PayPal, because I had my PayPal on a different thing. And anyway, so we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so your time is worth money. But I do say at the end, you know, thank you for, you know, thank you for contributing. I have an Amazon for like decks if you want to, you know, send decks my way. But if you want to buy a deck from like Etsy, I can give you like my address. I do have a mailing address. It's just, you know, you have to be careful when you're on these platforms like this. You know, there's a lot of creepy, shady people out there too. So even though I am divinely protected, it's like, you know, just be smart about it. You know, you don't want to put your address or your, you know, certain things like out there because you don't know, you just don't know. But anyway, yeah, we'll work it out. And prayer is free. You know, that's what I tell you guys at the end of the readings. I'm like, if you can't afford to pay for the work that's on YouTube or for these kind of things, when Spirit has me do it, quote unquote, free, it's like prayer is very powerful, you know, and I may not be in the most perfect place I want to be in, but I have food, I have water, I have shelter. Those three main things, I'm richer than most people in this world, right? So it's all in the way you look at wealth. So sending prayers of abundance my way is pretty awesome. But yeah, definitely for the one-on-ones, I do charge because yeah, it's like different, you know. This time when I do these kind of things, like this is my time, of course, but it's also it's spirit time. It's like the Goonies when he's like, you know, he's like, the adults, that's their time. But down here, the Goonies, this is our time, right? So this is our time, you guys. This is our time. I love you so much. Okay, did we have any more questions? I'm going to go back and look. Yeah. And also, it depends on the person. You know, I haven't always asked for deposits. You know, Spirit has like said to me, you know, or like I had one client who was an alcoholic and I know they were trying and stuff, but I was like, I could feel when they would be intoxicated. And I'm like, you cannot be intoxicated on our session. They're like, dude, they're like, I haven't drank in like 3 hours. I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do a session while you're intoxicated. They're like, you smoke weed. I'm like, smoking cannabis and working with cannabis to connect with spirit and the spirit realms is not the same as like getting drunk and like lowering my inhibitions. And you know what I mean? I'm like, let's put it this way. In my experience, because I was a walk-in, you know, textbook alcoholic in a lot of ways. So, you know, in my experience, alcohol is like basically the lower energies, the lower frequencies, the lower dimensions, and cannabis is like the higher energies and the higher frequencies, right? Especially if you're drinking like, you know, something that's been it's not even pure alcohol, you know what I mean? Or it's got like additives and all these other things that are just fucking with your system and fucking with your body. You know, but I'll take a plant from the earth that has no pesticides and no, you know what I mean? I'll take that day, any day. I miss drinking, I miss wine, and I do want to make like someday I want to make me, my dream is to have like a huge, like hundreds of acres of land of like a healing where people can come and heal. I want to have a theater where people can perform and sing and act and play, you know, musical instruments. And I want to do like, you know, my partner does plant healing, you know, ayahuasca type healing that's legal, you know, DMT and like all those like fun, interesting, like cool, like it's kind of like DMT, but not DMT. But it's all derived from plant medicine. It's like I want that kind of like healing where it's supervised. But if I'm gonna have that, I want to make my own wine and my own mead with my own bees from my own honey, you know? Like then we know the source. And then it's like joyful because there's nothing wrong with alcohol. It's the abuse of alcohol that's the problem, from the way it's made to the way it's drank. You know what I mean? Okay, it says, now that I've met you, you will be getting a lot of customers from me. You have been spot on with my dad. Oh, well, I take that as such an honor. Thank you, Alana. That's what I'm saying. I literally said to Spirit, so this isn't this, so thank you. See, this is what I'm saying. Exchange of energy, right? Exchange of energy. And in this kind of thing, this is another thing too. Like my fellow readers, when we call each other and we're on the phone for like hours, and I mean hours, like my one friend and I, I'm like, dude, we've been on the phone for like 6 hours because we're hanging out. We don't live by each other anymore. But if they lived here, we would hang out. We would make food together. We would, you know, we put our phone on, you know, we'll like, you know, we do all these things and it's really fun. But we were talking about the exchange of energy, and it's like we will hold space for each other while we're working through things, and we'll have our aha moments, and we don't charge each other, right? Because we're both fucking mediums. So we're like, that's our exchange of energy, is like connecting together as fellow light workers, helping each other. Like, you know, sometimes we'll talk about other clients, but not really. Like sometimes, you know, my friend will be like, you know, I have this one client and blah, 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 and I couldn't figure out what their thing was. And I'll be like, oh, they have rheumatism. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. And they'll be like, oh, wow, I didn't feel that, you know? So it's like, it's just, that's what we do. We help each other. And those would be the random times that my friend will send me like $50. And I'm like, dude, you didn't have to send me money. And she's like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? You know, and especially like some of my friends, they walk the old way, but they don't, like they do advertise, or like they are in a building, or you know what I mean? So like, if you don't come to my channel, or like most people who work with me are from word of mouth. And every time I've tried to advertise or do things like that, Spirit has given me this kind of like, you know, no, you know, it's not time, it's not ready. And now I realize I wasn't being punished. It's just that it's just divine timing, you know, because I'm like, I don't understand. I used to make so much money. Why am I not making money? You know, I used to make hundreds of dollars a session, and, you know, and they're like, it's not because you needed to be where you needed to be. And recently, I had said to my partner, you know, because we're separated, we're not divorced, but we're separated, and we've been separated for a year, and they've been helping me a lot. And I said something about it, and they're like, I feel like I can do more if I wasn't always, you know, taking care of both of us. And I said, well, I know this is going to be hard for you to hear. I'm like, but there was a time where I took care of both of us. We've been together for a decade, you know. And I said, you know, the roller coaster goes up and it goes down, and it goes up and it goes down, and it goes around and it goes up and loops, and, you know, we all have a place and a time, and it's all divine timing. So I've always had what I needed. It may not have been what I wanted, but it was what I needed. And so that's what they're trying to say to us through this you know, progression of, you know, everything happening for a reason. And so I said to him, you know, you're meant to work balls to the wall right now. Like, you're meant to support us right now. And he makes good money. He's a mobile mechanic in the third dimensional world, like by trade. And we've been up here for 3 years now. He hasn't advertised in so long because he's such a good mechanic, and he goes to your house and he's half the rates of a shop. Who wouldn't hire him? He still makes a shitload of money. You know what I mean? But I was saying to him, he had this big job recently because I really want to move, you know. And I was like, dude, I'm ready to get our own land. I'm ready to get our own land. I don't know how much more I can take. Can't fucking stay here anymore. And I was praying to Spirit, and I was like, when is it my time, Spirit? When is it my time? You know, when am I going to have what I want, what I need? You know, like I give and I give and I give and I give. And, you know, wah, wah, wah. But it's happening for me, not to me. I'm not a victim. It's all good. And I put myself here with every fucking little white lie I told, every little manipulation I put out there, you know? And it's all good. And I'm fucking happy because everything happens exactly as it's meant to when it's meant to, right? As they say, right? Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings, a wizard always arrives exactly when they're meant to. And it's the same with everything. Money is just, but abundance is like, I'm in abundance right now. When I get off the phone here, I'm going to go and work on other things on my house, and I'm going to have food, and you know what I mean? Like I have everything I could possibly need. Yeah, it's hot as fuck. It's really hot this week. I'm not looking forward to it. You know, but it is what it is. And I'll get through that too, because you know, everything passes. This too shall pass. Um, so, you know, the exchange of energy is, you know, like I've said before, if I could give a crystal, if I could pay my cell phone bill in crystals, I would, but I can't. So I have to pay in money. So we do need currency of some kind, right? And Alana, right? Like you're in Europe, I'm over here. But we have these different forms that we can share money, we can share experiences, we can share art. You know, the world is, we're just in the fucking tower moment, like I said earlier. But once that tower moment passes, is the rebirth. And we're in the year of the snake. After that is the year of the horse, which is freedom. And we're freedom fighters. And we're going to grow stronger and we're going to get bigger. And I had a feeling that Spirit was waiting, just waiting until I got to that perfect, you know, like I needed to be just ripe enough. I needed to just know enough. I had to have just enough wisdom, just enough of my crone to be, you know, reliable, to be like Alana just said. She just came on here and she's like, wow, you're spot on. I'm the same way, right? You find somebody shows up in your feed, you're like, who's this fucking person? I've never seen this person. Oh, I don't know. Cool. And then you watch a reading and you're like, it feels like a personal reading, and they have like 300,000 subscribers, and you're like, and even the reader's like, I don't know who this is for. I've never done a reading like this. And I'm like, oh, I'm a first time subscriber, you know what I mean? Or a first time listener, you know? And it's like, that's because wherever two or more gather, we're powerful. I'm a powerful witch. They're a powerful witch. Alana, you're powerful. You know, it's like, and I don't know if you align with that, so I'm not going to call you a witch, but like I'd say witch, and witch is just an angel. They're the same thing, just different terminology, you know? So my throat chakra is getting blocked. So Spirit's like, we're winding down. Also, it's like I can start to smell myself. I'm like all natural, and it's like getting so hot in here where I'm like, it's like where the sun is peaking, because in real time it's almost 3 o'clock here. So, and I'm in full sun in my tiny RV with like nothing. And I'm like, it's getting hot as Hades. It gets so hot in here in my little tin can, but I love her. I love her. And you guys, I can't wait to show you. We're doing another chunk of remodeling soon, and I can't wait to like show you guys. I'm really excited. A lot of things are going to be changing, and I do feel like we are moving, though. I don't know if it's going to be before the end of this year. I've been hoping that we move before the end of August. That's kind of been, because when I realized Mercury retrograde was coming up, I'm like, well, I'm not moving during a retrograde or a shadow, and I'm not moving during the Lionsgate portal. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, excuse me, that doesn't feel right. Drink some water. But I do kind of feel like we're going to be somewhere else by the fall. So I don't know if that means energetically or we're actually going to physically move. Oh, yay. Oh, you know what? See, this is, okay, you guys, this is it. Like, and this is where I really mean it, where this is like payment enough. Alana said, you have helped me so much. I feel at peace and happy now. And it's all because of you. I appreciate you and your time. That's what I'm saying, you guys, right? Like, I was the same. Like, I was a fucking mess after my dad died. I went to that channeling circle. She was like acting my dad out to a point where I was like, dude, there's no fucking way you would know that. Like, she was like, I see him in like this vintage car and blah, blah, blah. And like everything she was saying. And I'm like, my dad restored vintage cars. Like, I mean, it was just like, there was just no way. And she goes, and I hate to say this, but he's driving with like an open can of beer. I'm like, yep, that's my dad. I'm like, my dad. I was like, that's my dad. And it does, because all of a sudden it's like, even if you are a medium, and you know it, right? From Spaceballs, and you know it. Like but there's still that humanity, that part of you that loses that actual physical feeling of that person near, that hand in your hand, that hug and your embrace. It fucking hurts. It hurts. After my dad died, he came to me in this one dream. It was so beautiful. It was actually one of the most beautiful things to this day that's ever happened to me in my life. And I was like on a campus or something. It was so weird, and in this old vintage house. And long story short, I turned around and my dad started coming towards me, but he looked like a younger version of him, and he was wearing this like 70s like zoot suit kind of thing, and his hat and like the whole thing. And he was fly, like my dad was a musician, and and it was so wild. And when I saw him, I didn't realize what was happening until I ran to hug him, and I jumped in his arms, and then I saw and then I kind of pulled away from it, and it was little me. And it was little me in this dress, and my dad was holding me. Oh, it's starting to make me emotional. Ah, but that's okay, right? That's okay, because it's cancer season. Let's get this shit out. We've got a few more weeks, or just in less than 2 weeks now till the new moon comes in, and we need this. Use that cancer energy, water energy. Cry that shit out. Watch the movie, the one that makes you cry. Watch that thing that makes you think of that family member, because we need to get in there, because I realized that's what it was, because I missed that relationship with my dad when he still hung the moon and the stars. And I didn't care about the drinking. He was my daddy. I was 5. You know what I mean? Like, that's the shit. That's the real shit. That's the magic. Because that's real. And and it's gonna be, I'm gonna totally like jar this for a second, and it may freak some of you guys out. But it wasn't until I started working with all these different teachers and shamans that I saw the reason why my dad and I had such a bizarre relationship was we were lovers in another life. And somebody was like, that's bullshit. That never happens. When you reincarnate, you're never like, it doesn't work like that. And as I worked deeper and worked with all these, I was like, it does work like that, actually. That's the whole point. It does work like that. You can have that kind of relationship with them. That's why when my dad and I had inappropriate stuff, it was when he was wasted, because he wasn't him. He was so blotto that he was like, we were in another, like all he felt was my energy next to him. He wasn't like, it's not like he was fully awake and like his eyes were open and he was like having intercourse with me. It was, he would touch me inappropriately, or he would pull me to him and he'd have an erection, but he wasn't like trying to have sex with me. Do you know what I'm saying? But it took me years to like understand and unpack all that shit, So there's just so many things. We have such deep relationships with each other, that stuff it's right now, the lines are so blurred. The dimensions are everywhere. It's not just about this or that. It's everything all at once. The third dimensional energy beat that out of us, gave us time frames, gave us, down to like the Monday through Friday work week and weekends off. And you know what I mean? Like all this bullshit, all this rhetoric that's like not even ours. We flow with the earth, with Gaia. Gaia is our light. Gaia is our source of love. She is divinely connected to the Creator just as much as we are. And all this other stuff is just stopping our expansion and our growth. And that's why do you think they're mocking it, calling it the woke movement? They're mocking it because they don't understand it. Or they do, and that's why they're mocking it, because they want you to not feed into that. The fucking what do you call it? In Washington, D.C., the National Monument, I believe that's it, the obelisk, right? If you know anything about ancient Egypt and other, like the Mayans and all these different things, and the pyramids and the obelisk, all these were just forms of connections to the universe. They lined, the National Monument is actually lined with crystals. They don't talk about it, but they are. Quartz crystals, which are amplifiers. Clear quartz crystals. I don't know if there's other crystals in there, but from the thing that I saw, it's mainly made up of quartz crystals. I could be wrong. Please always correct me if I'm wrong. I could be watching a bad bill of goods. You know what I mean? And I watched it at the beginning because when I met my partner, he was all about aliens. He was all into ancient aliens. He'd seen every episode, was into that. And I was into witches and fairies and magic and, and Gandalf and Lord of the Rings. And he was more into like Independence Day and The Arrival and like those kind of movies. And over the years, we've integrated our knowledge with each other and we've learned a lot. But that's why they say like there's no way that like some of these like uncovered cities they're 30,000 years old. They're like there's no other fucking form of a tool but a laser that could have created that. So, Earth is a training ground. This isn't the first time, but this is the first time that we have like gone like, where we're pulling the energy back. That's why there's so many of us little push pins and anchors all over the planet of light, because we need to be there, right? Alana, you need to be in the UK. I need to be in, the United States. One of our other tribe members, I think her name was Laura, right? She needs to be in Denmark or whatever part of Europe she was in. I can't remember now. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just like I'm going, right? Like, and one of our first episodes, we had that gentleman from India and he was like having all these awakenings with his family members too, right? Like we need to fucking be there. I needed to marry my family. My sister married her high school sweetheart, south side of Chicago. White people marry white people. But I mean, I had one of my family members sent me this cryptic message and they were like terrified. They're like, can I talk to you? I'm afraid to talk to my family. And I was like, why? What's wrong? They're like, well, I started dating somebody and they were in college and they're like, I want to tell my family, but I'm afraid to tell them. I thought she was going to tell me she was gay because not that I assumed she was gay, but that was literally the first thought I had because I knew how racist and prejudiced my family was and the area where I came from. And so I was like, well, I'm like, here's a time, here's it, whatever, you can call me. So they call me and I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, so who is this person? They're like, oh my God. So I have to tell you about this person. They start telling me about this person and how they fell in love with this person. They're like, this is my person. Like, I just know this is my person. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, what's their name? And then they tell me their name and it's, a man's name. And I said, okay. And she's like, but he's black. And I was like, oh, I'm like, interesting. So my first husband, his father was from India, his mother was from Austria, and he was born in London. And my mom dated a lot of different black guys for a while. After she and my father got divorced, she was working in an area that was predominantly black, so she met a lot of black men. And so she started dating black men. And I dated black men. I dated I've actually dated almost not every race, but like I've dated Asian men, I've dated Latin men, you know what I mean? But like it was not approved of in our family. It was very frowned upon. So that's why she was afraid to tell her family because she's not stupid. She heard the N-word flying around our family. She heard, you know what I mean? She knew. But she was like, this is also my person. So what the fuck do I do? And I'm like, you tell them. And that's it. She ended up marrying him. And, and one of the last times I saw my family, one of the reasons why I couldn't be around my family anymore is because, it was like a big family wedding. We have big family on both sides of my family. And there were all these people there. And the guys were watching a game. The guys were watching a football game. And one of the elder males in my family screamed, oh my gosh, look at that N run. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, they just left. I'm like, what do you have? Like a little thing that like once somebody that has left the room of, a certain race, like then you can go back to being yourself. I'm like, do you have to like, is it hard to hold it in? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it just flew out of his mouth so naturally how excited he was and I was just, I couldn't. I literally and my mom was like, just leave it alone. I'm like, I'm not going to leave it alone. I'm like, that's fucked up. I said, because this will probably happen. I said, they will have children. At some point, they will probably have children. And so, what happens when you think they've left the room, or you think that they've left, or one slips out? How do you think they're going to feel when they hear their family say that? I was like, I'm done. And that was it for me. And I honestly, I was like, I have not seen most of them since. And I was like, and they're either, I don't see them anymore or they're dead. And I was like, and it's just gross. It's just gross, vile behavior. And, it's like these are the kind of things that we're like really moving out of. That's why I say to you guys all the time, when we were going through the they movement, I was so grateful that so many of our tribe members were in their 20s, because I'd be like, help me with my languaging. I want to make sure that I'm respectful, but at the same time, I am older. I wasn't raised with that. We didn't, you were either a he or a she. It wasn't a they. I'm like, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just telling you like my own personal experience. And like, I want to be as respectful as possible. If I say something that's coming off as racist, tell me. I didn't know, like I remember when I was working with one of my teachers and I said, oh, call a spade or something like that. And she said, you shouldn't say that. And I said, why? And she goes, it's actually really derogatory. It's a racist term. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah. She's like, because back in the day, and I was like, what? And then she started telling me all these things. And I was like, I had no, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's really just of our own ignorance. It's not malicious. It's just ignorant. But when it's ignorance that is malicious, that's a different story. And that's what I mean. It's like they're like, well, blah 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 blah. There's they call us honkies. And I was like, oh my gosh. But again, it's like time frame, right? Like when I was growing up in the 70s, my dad had a really good friend who was black, and they would fuck with each other. And my dad did call him the N-word, and he would call him honky. And like I can't even say the N-word. And I just, it's hard for me to say it. Just because I've seen it used with such like arrogance and ignorance for so long, and just in such a horrible way. So, when you grow up in a very, in an area that's very heavily saturated with what they would call a minority, Alana says, I totally agree. Ignorance. Yes. Right. It's like, and even that, right? Like, because where I grew up, it was very Irish as well. It was Irish Catholic, Italian and Irish Catholic, Italian Catholic and then Irish Catholic. But and I say it that way because that's, but like when I was growing up, so many people were Catholic in my areas. Like, of course you had like Protestants, and like my mom's family was Southern Baptist, whatever. But it was mostly in Chicago was very like Catholic and religious. And so, and I think it's because the Catholics let you drink, where like my mom's was Christian too, but like, that was blasphemous. I mean, it's just all this bullshit, it's just bullshit. It's just all fucking bullshit. I've been calling bullshit since I was a child, right? Like, I'm like, I call bullshit. So I'm a human bullshit barometer is basically what this all came to. And most of us light workers are, and we see and feel and hear and think and know, we just know things and we feel things, and we can't look the other way. We just can't look the other way. So, don't look the other way. Be present right now. And with all of your accolades and everything that you guys are going through, and everything that you're, each step on your progression through your consciousness evolution, just remember to turn around for a second and thank your elders, and thank the ancestors, because they gave us every breath we have in our body right now. And they went through more horrific things than we could possibly understand right now. Because even though there are wars happening everywhere, all over right now, and thanks to the American president, we may be in another one of a world war. I don't know. But if it is, then it's meant to be. And as gross and hard as that is to hear, it has to be done. The floodings and all that. Like I said, some people, you're going to hear me say things that are going to be uncomfortable for you to hear. And I'm very sorry if you've lost anybody, because I know it's very hard, especially to lose somebody in a tragedy that happens quickly. And people are always like, and children. Well, of course, all lives matter. But children, it's harder, because when they're snuffed out earlier, it's a little bit harder, right? Like I've had 53 years. If the world blew up right now, I would have had 53 years to be human in this experience, right? But when those floodings happened, I couldn't help it. I was like, holy shit, it was from a Christian camp. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, what the fuck? interesting, man. It's fucking interesting. So, we're going to have these kind of Noah's Ark moments. We're going to have these kind of like, Armageddon, these, like solar flares, like all these things. I've been seeing things for Armageddon a lot lately, and not just because it's free on YouTube this month. So I don't know how things are going to happen, but I am feeling this big thing that I think that the light workers are feeling is there are going to be like a lot of lives like happening in one lump in one area, or like I do think it's going to continue like that until things like set themselves straight, until karma and Kali feel like things have, turned back on, until we set this fucking ship straight. It's like we're in a squall right now, and you just got to ride through the squall. You can't like run away. I was watching this video recently. It was a shorts, and they showed somebody on a boat, and like the boat's going towards like this beautiful, like, blue sky and clouds and the sun, and it looks beautiful, and it's like out at deep sea. And they're like, man, I was thinking they were going a little fast on this boat until I saw what was behind them, right? And then they saw behind them it's like dark and black and like lightning, and like they're like trying to beat the storm, right? Like some of us are going to beat the storm and some of us aren't. And it's because we were supposed to. And is it fucking sad that children are dying? Yes, but children's limbs are being blown off on the other side of the world, and nobody fucking seems to care about that, right? Like this has been happening for years in Vietnam and Korea, and you go on and on and on. Look at what's fucking with the Ukraine. Oh yeah, I'm gonna end this war in a minute. Yeah, fuck you. You're gonna do what you want to do. You're gonna do what you're gonna do to line your pocket again. But like I said before, remember something: the 1% is only 1%. The rest of us are gonna fucking, it's happening, right? It's happening. Alana and I found each other today, right? Like she found our tribe today. We found her channel now too. Let's support her as well. Let's always support each other. Feel free to write. If you are a subscriber, you can put any of your channel or the work you're doing in the My Community section on my channel. I was so grateful when I saw that YouTube created that. I think it's a great idea. People can share links. I've been posting like crazy, and there are fun things for us to look at, but also things to look at different ways of living. I've got things that aren't just spiritually related. They're like how to live in a tiny home, how to live off grid, how to, why do you think they're punishing the poor people? They're doing it for a reason. We have our day, we have our comeuppance. It's here. It's happening slowly. And that's why when I was watching the sitting president, like a little kid, like, look at me signing this bill. Oh, I'm like, go ahead. Revel in that. Revel in that. Revel in that. Because that energy you're given, oh boy. And like, so you're basically telling over 35 million Americans that you're going to let them die willingly. You're letting children like starve, It's so fucked up. So, and this isn't just us, it's everywhere. All of them, Putin, you name them, fucking North Korea, just let it happen. Just hold the light as long as you can. And when you can't, cry that fucking shit out. Face that fear. Be the warrior you were brought here to be. We are warriors. Make no mistake about it. But we are spiritual warriors, so we come from love. But we also talk truth. You can kumbaya everything, but you can't kumbaya your way out of, you know what I mean? Like, if I tried to have a conversation with this sitting American president, I'd get to him, but maybe not right away. But if you lock he and I in a fucking room together, where like they couldn't physically harm me, they couldn't do anything to me, and we just would have to have a conversation, give me like 3 days, I'd break that fucker. I'd break him. I could probably break him sooner than that. That's my ego coming out. But you know what I'm saying? Because spirit would give me what I need to see. His family would come through. You know what I mean? Just like this happened with Alana today. Just like this happens with all of us. Like we're divinely connected. We don't even need to use our mouthpiece. We can connect to each other with our intuition, with our thoughts. These higher beings, the Arcturians, the Lyrians, the Syrians, the Pleiadians. My God, the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians and the Arcturians, I mean, in my experience and working with the 9, the Arcturians and the Pleiadians are like, I know they're different, and I know they're different, like energy sources, and I know they're different planets and stuff, but to me, they're kind of like like the boss of the universe. Like they're kind of the intellect, the parents, like the, the adult in the room, kind of, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of energy. When I work with the nine, it's like there's like a council, but they're all different. I've spoken to them. You guys know Galactica. I haven't channeled Galactica in a really long time, but she's one of the nine, and she's so powerful. She's a divine feminine energy source. So I believe that we are angels, dragons, fairies, angels. I believe we come from the same realm. I feel like we were created from the creator first. So then people are like, oh, do you think there's a hierarchy system? I don't know if there's like a hierarchy system, but when you look at pyramids and pyramid schemes and you know what I mean, everything starts from something and like trickles down. So if we believe in the trickle down effect, or we believe that, like, I mean, just in my own experience, right? I was born with knowledge, and I had knowledge, and then I had to unlearn everything I came here with to become human, to understand. Then I had to unlearn the human stuff to tap back into my spiritual, right? Like I had to, all of us starseeds, light workers, we had to have these very human experiences. Most light workers and starseeds have been through horrific situations or grim experiences, terrifying experiences. One of our tribe members, Jessica, she came up in one of our things where, she was terrorized by her ex-husband. He literally tried to kill her and her children, literally tried to kill her more than once. And she's writing a book. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just so powerful. The autism, the anxiety. And you probably know this, Alana. They say depression stems from living in the past, and anxiety stems from living in the future. So we have anxiety because we don't know what's coming. And for the mediums and the empaths, we really have the hardest to bear because we feel something's coming, but we don't always know what, right? Because our spirit guides and our higher self is really just what that is only allowing us to see so much at a time because we're not ready. When we're ready to see it, we see it. When we're not ready, we don't see it. But so we get anxious because we don't know what's going to happen. And when we have a quick death, like, did your father die quickly, or did you know he was going to die? Was he ill? He's not showing me any of that. So like when we lose a family member, child, doesn't matter, parent, whatever age, if you lose somebody quickly, it's a kick in the pants because you're like, 1 minute they were there, the next minute they were gone. If someone's ill and they're slowly dying, that's coming, or it's a possibility that it's coming. Listen, here comes emergency, emergency, emergency. That silly little song. Paging Dr. Emergency. It makes me laugh though. It's like there are certain things that we are all going to have our own knowing, but I can't just implant somebody into my brain and give them all my knowledge. They have to go on their own. Oh, he died very soon. He went into hospital and 2 days later he passed. Yeah, that's fuck. It's a shock. I'm so sorry. Like that's such a shock to your system. One day he's there, one day he's not. It's horrible. And your dad was really young. That's very young. What was wrong? Was he healthy? He's showing me his heart. Did he have a heart condition? If not, I feel like there may be a heart condition that runs in your family. Also, listen to that emergency room. Also, oh gosh, oh my heart. She said I watched him die in so much pain too. Like you literally like were in the hospital and like he was like struggling with pain, and then like the machines went off and he died, like a movie. And I'm not saying your life's a movie, but I'm like trying to give everybody sometimes when they don't show me, it's because they want you to talk about it. They want you to get it out. I mean, in 2 weeks, fuck. I mean, my best friend, my familiar cat, Bubba the Great, she died 5 months ago, and I am still not okay. I'm not okay. She died 5.5 months ago, and I'm not okay. You know what I mean? And that's my fucking familiar. That's my cat that was with me for 13 years. It's your father. It's a different story. So, and Bubba was sick. I mean, she got sick really quickly. She turned really quickly, but he had blockages in his stomach, and all his arteries were blocked from the chest down, and he had heart failure. That's why he showed me his heart. Yeah, it showed me him clenching his heart. So that's how he wanted to go. And listen to this. And this is going to be a hard one, but I want you to hear it because he wants you to hear it. when somebody we love dies in pain, especially in front of us, because same, I wanted to put Bubba down. Like, I was like, I'm taking you to the vet. I don't fucking care if you want to die naturally. Sorry, not on my watch. You're going, I'm bringing you. I'm like, and then I was like looking for, I know that because of where I live, it's like out in the boonies. I know there's so many horse farms and animal farms and stuff out here. I know there's traveling vets. So I was like, dude, you don't have to die that way. I'm like, I will pay for it. I don't care if it costs me $500. I'm like, I will fucking pay for a traveling vet to come here and put you down. And she's like, no, I want to go on my own. I want to die on my own. And I was like, fuck. And it wasn't until like the last few months that I started to understand that was Bubba's karma. You know, even animals have karma. Like, I had to watch Bubba suffer. I had to watch her soil herself, this magical, magnificent, majestic creature. I had to watch her like, and I watched her take her last fucking breath, and it was like horrific. So she showed me that that was part of something that I needed to be a part of. So your dad, when people choose something like that, look at him again as such a warrior, because he chose, yes, he was ready. She said, my dad said he was ready. He chose that. And believe it or not, it might have been because in another lifetime, he may have been killed by a sword. But instead of dying quickly, maybe he was in such horrific pain that he begged spirit to take him out of the pain and said, I'll pay for it somewhere else. You know what I mean? In some type of last minute soul contract, you know, where he's like, please don't let me suffer anymore. And they, you know what I mean? So, and maybe, and I don't know for sure. I'm just saying that like, he's telling me it's very karmic. It was his time to die. He was ready to go. And the suffering was so that maybe in his next life, he won't have an ounce of suffering. Not a day, not a moment, not a second. Maybe he'll die in his sleep. Maybe he'll have a family and his children will all die peacefully, and they'll have like some, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's like we co-created the third dimension. We co-created it. So we can't just walk away from it and be like, okay, I'm done now. I'm done now. I blew up that. I fucked up that. I blah, blah, blah. I'm done now. It's like, they're like, no, karma's a bitch. It just is. So he's saying, and it's because you're spiritual that you understand this. Also, this is for between you and him when you're ready. He would like you to change the name of your channel when you are ready, when it comes, and it will naturally, but you will. Because even though he's kind of Malcolm in the middle, like he showed me that, right? Like he's like the medium for you, like to like talk to the other side. He's never going to leave you. He is your guardian angel. He's with you all the time. He gives you hugs. He's showing me putting like a jacket around your shoulders, or like just this very protective, like he's always going to be like, you know what I mean? Like if you're walking down a dark fucking street in London, I don't know exactly how far away you are, but you know, he's just giving me like an example. Like if you're walking down a dark street in London at 2 a.m. and you know, some tweaker is like, whatever, it's like, something will happen. Well, they will just be guided another way, or someone will come up behind you and like put a coat around you and protect you and be like, oh my gosh, I just saw, you know, blah, blah, blah. You're okay. Like, I'm so glad. I have a feeling that guy was going to do something to you or rob you, or, you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. So I don't know if his name was there before or you just put it there or whatever it is, but he wants you to remember that this is your life. This is your path. And he's always going to be there, and he's always going to be your guardian, and he's always going to look out for you. And he wants you to leave it there as long as it feels comfortable to you, but it's not about that. You know what I mean? It really is about like you and your journey. And now you will tell the tales of your dad, and your dad will be your spirit guide. When my mom died last year, oh my God, I have like spirit had me take videos of me having like a guttural cry. And I just thought it was like for me to like go through some type of mourning. When spirit asked me to create videos out of them to put on my channels, I'm like, what? They're like, because people need that. And sometimes they need some, you know, it's like when someone sneezes and another person sneezes, they're like, sometimes they have us put something out that is so jarring that most people would be like, what the fuck? Like, that's some fucked up shit. You know what I mean? Um, where they're like, yeah, but they cried or they got through it. You know, the movie The Holiday's been coming up recently, you know, with, it's like one of my favorite movies. And of course was set, half of it in England, right? And Cameron Diaz's character, she can't cry because her parents, she was an only child and their parents died in a car accident. She's like, I haven't cried since. Um, it's like one of those things where a lot of people have shut down their heart chakra and have shut down their emotions so much that like the divine feminine is screaming for us right now. They're like, we got you, we got you, we got you. Cry it out, get it out, get it out, get it out. Cancer is, in my opinion, you know, one of the best times to really work through some of the hardest stuff. So as sad as it is, I'm, you know, that your father passed in June. I'm glad that you have this time right now to really lean into that energy. And I really suggest that you do, you know, just talk to him, connect with him. He will send you signs. He's actually, he wanted me to tell you, he's actually more powerful now than he was before. Also, the taking care of yourself, eating better, all that. We have to remember, even though we're light workers and star seeds, we still have the blood and bone from our earthbound uh, avatar, right? So like my family, like emphysema, heart failure, like certain things were like really rampant in like my family. Most people died of like one of two things, you know, kind of thing. And so I'm getting that, just to remember that you are a light being, have a human experience, but to just like, you know, clean it up from the inside out and the outside in. We've been talking about this a lot for several months, but definitely for years. Spirit has been pushing all of us to make sure we know what's in our products, what we're putting in our bodies when we're on the outside of our bodies. You know, like when those people were doing the Tide Pods or whatever, and like kids were dying, you know, to do these stupid challenges. Like it's like, yeah, those are chemicals. You're putting chemicals in your body. Your stomach doesn't know what to do with that. It's like a real fucking chemical. And so if you're putting it on, that's like staying in your clothes. They've been saying a lot too, like, you know, make sure you always wash your clothes before you wear them. Wash your fruit and vegetables, even if they're organic, whatever. It's just, you know, you don't know who's touching things or what happens, and energy is energy is energy. This isn't a fear tactic. This is an awareness, you know. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful because now I feel like we just literally gained another angel, and it's time for you to spread your wings. You know, are you in your 40s? Because he's showing me 40s, but at first I saw 46, and then I saw 34, and those were pivotal times for me and my life too, where massive changes happened. Um, but he's showing me like certain numbers, so it could be an age you are, or it could be an age of like that you will become, and like those are going to be pivotal times for you. um but yeah, so interesting. I feel like he's going to tell you more too. You're 33 but 34 soon, so you're in your 34th year. Okay, so that's what they say, because think about it, when you're born you're 0 and then you have your first birthday, but technically you're like, you're 1, but then, you know what I mean? It's like you're going into your first year, so you're going into your 34th year. And 34, when you add it together, is the number 7. And 7 is, you know, we go in cycles, 7 days in a week, 7, you know, like, so 49 is a really big one for light workers as well, because 7 times 7 is 49. So like you've gone through 7 cycles of 7, which is like a really powerful time, which is, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, over the hill, or like, you know, you're an oldie but a goodie, but actually in the Native Americans, that's when you like go into your elder is actually 49, not 50, which is really powerful. I'm Cherokee. That's something I studied. One of my shamans was half Cherokee as well, and so I learned a lot. And I've studied with Gypsy witches, Romanian Gypsy witches, and Middle Eastern, you know, energies, Indian, like you name it. I've walked with them, worked with them, because, you know, when you do that, and I've also studied a lot of, I've studied all of the main religions as far as I was, you know, brought and I've had a lot of friends that were in those religions, and I learned so much about it. And they all have their beauty and their grace, but they all have their control and their shadow. So, you know, that's how they control people. So I think we're going to wrap it up. And let me see, is there anything else, Spirit, that we want to Do we have any more, Spirit? Do we have any more? Do we have any more questions or any more? Nope. Okay. Do we have any more? I always like to throw the cards one more time in case we have like an exiting message. Do we have any exit messages for the tribe, Spirit? Nope. Do we have any more exiting messages for Alana or anybody else who may have come in here? Nope. All right, you guys. So I'm going to leave it right there. I mean, we can always go on and on. I've got tons of stuff on my channel. Feel free to check them out. I love you guys so much. Until next time, please take good care of yourselves and each other. Love yourselves first. Love each other. I have a feeling I'm going to be doing a new pick a reading coming this week. There's a lot, just to put it out there and so you guys know, over the next week, I am doing a lot of like, oh, you're most welcome. It is my divine pleasure. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Because every person who comes in here and we do these readings, remember, we're all learning and we're all growing. So, oh, when I looked down, I was 3313, 33313. 36912, which is also number 13. Woo woo! Yay! Thank you. So let's just thank everybody. Let's thank the divine feminine first of all. Thank you to the goddess energy. Thank you to the divine mother. Thank you to the divine feminine. Thank you to Kali Ma. Thank you to Karma and all the energies and entities who showed up here today from all over, from the 9 to the divine creator themselves, all of our angels, everybody who is here today on both sides and all worlds and all realms. We are in deep gratitude for you sitting with us today. I am going to close the portal now with grace and gratitude and and just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And this week is going to be a big week for me. I have a lot going on in my personal life, so I'm going to do my best. I may end up, once in a while, Spirit has me post old readings, and I love the old readings because a lot of the tribe members, we say this all the time, like they will align so perfectly, it's freaky. The only thing that doesn't align is like the date or like, the retrograde or something. But like in terms of like whatever, because the messages are timeless. I say the real time and those things so that we have a logging point for all of us to understand something, right? Like, but it doesn't, it's always timeless. You see the message when you see it. You hear the message when you hear it. You see the sign when you see it, all of it, from somebody in the grocery store, the gas station to, or the petrol station, as, the Brits would say, right? I was married to one, and Bob's your uncle. Sorry, there's certain things certain phrases I learned that only people would be like, what? I'm like, oh, it's a British thing. I felt so cool when I was younger. I was an American married to a hot Brit. And I lived in LA and he was a musician. I was so cool. Yeah, well, I was living in a false matrix of myself, but that's okay because they're where they're supposed to be now and I'm where I was supposed to be now. So everything aligns and works out exactly as it's meant to, right? As Gandalf says, the wizard does arrive when they're meant to. So feel free to peruse the channel for messages, use your intuition and use your pendulum if you have one. And you can even flip a coin. I always tell people though, make sure though, when you work with something like that or anything that has double sides, make sure that it's cleared of any energy, especially money of any kind. I don't care which country you come from. You wash that real good. You wash it real good and you send an energy to it and you put your energy on it and you say, only my energy, only my higher self can control this coin. Because sometimes you just, you're just not sure. And sometimes you get it clear as day and sometimes you're not sure. Flip of a coin. Should I do this, Spirit? Yes or no? Heads, yes. Tails, no. Or however you want to say it, right? And however that coin lands, and you can, sometimes I'll do 2 out of 3, just to kind of see like, what's going on. Because if it gets split, then I know that there's sometimes an energy or it could be a maybe. Sometimes it's not a definitive yes or no. Sometimes it is a maybe or not yet, right? Because, you can work on something. I've been working on my music career for years. My other channel, Lula's Labyrinth, I love singing. I love acting and doing my stuff. I love performing. That's a part of me. That's, that I've been doing that since I was a little girl. But that's part of my magic too, to be a muse, right? To like inspire others to be magical, to inspire others to laugh, to inspire others to, as the Brits would say, take the piss out of yourself, right? Like, don't take things so fucking seriously. In some ways, yes, the planet is like, it's a fucking shit show, right? But you have to ask yourself, if it's not your circus, it's not your monkeys, you don't have to fucking deal with it. Get that monkey chatter out of your mind. Do something that makes you laugh. Do something that makes you feel good. Go for a walk in nature. When the monkey mind comes in, that one's been coming for me. Turn that around, and say, go away before a house falls on you too, right? I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. Mantras, affirmations. I believe in magic and miracles. I've been saying to spirit, I'm like, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. Because before I was saying I was a billionaire, and I was like, I don't know if I want to be in the billionaires club right now, but I'll be a millionaire. Eventually I'll be a billionaire because I think that's just the way that it's meant to be because I'm meant to help globally. But feed the world kind of thing. But in terms of like just like right now, I'm like, I'm a millionaire. I'm like, by the end of this year, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm like, by the end of this year, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I've been saying things like that and just putting all these affirmations out there. And when something really horrible happens, I try to see the good in it, or I try to at least see the lesson. And then I just say, thank you, Spirit. I believe in magic and miracles. And if you're really, really wanting to, bring that good accolade towards you, say things like, universe, show me how extraordinary my life is. I used to say, show me how extraordinary my life can be. Now I just say, show me how extraordinary my life is. Because you're going to have a shitty day. And sometimes that shitty day parlays into another fucking part of and if you keep feeding the shitty day, it's going to be a shitty day all day. But if you have a shitty thing happen, then say, you know what, I'm going to turn it around. It's going to be a good day. It's a good day. It's a good day. And if things keep happening, then that was just that day. But you know what? When you have those really, 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 really good days, then you remember, yeah, I had that shitty day, but look at today. It's part of humanity. You signed up for it. So, you know, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Say thank you with grace and gratitude. And gratitude goes a long way. Having an altar, setting food aside at mealtime. When I said it, that might make you feel better too, Elena. To really connect with your dad right now, do something special for him. Go out and get his favorite foods, set up an altar. You may have done this already. Have a party with your dad. Be like, woo! And because like now, like June 22nd will forever be like, that's the day my dad like left this, this place is fucking hard. It's not easy. When my mom died last year, I was so sad, but also my mom, she predicted it all. I remember her saying like, I'll be happy if I live to be 75. She did. She died before her 76th birthday. Her 76th birthday. Your dad was 67. You know what I'm saying? Because my mom, even though she is a witch, she didn't like fully embrace it in this reality. She was meant to be the right wing Christian, Bible beaten Republican, Trump loving. You know what I mean? Like that was what my mom was meant to be, where I'm like the complete polar opposite. She had to, my mom would say, I love you, but I don't like you, kind of things. And I'm like, oh, that's nice, Mom. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, well, you're going, because when I'd say, why is yours better than mine? She's like, because you're going through a phase. I'm like, why isn't your a phase? Why isn't Christianity a phase? I'm like, witchcraft's been around for 30,000 years that we know of. That's been documented. Christianity's only been around for 2. So, right, you know what I mean? It's all in who you talk to and how you talk about it and how the conversation goes. And if somebody's open-minded or you're not. I play his favorite all the time, and I play his favorite, is it music or show or something? I just said favorite. I play his favorite all the time, and I feel so happy, and I do have a little party with him. Yay, good, exactly. And even if your other siblings or other family members don't buy into it at all, it's still like you are going to hold that strong for your dad. Your dad was in every way, shape, and form a light worker. It takes a lot of fucking courage to raise children on your own, especially. And I know that people are like, oh, whatever. But you see so many times that the kids end up with the mom. So the fact that your dad, you know what I mean? Like he stepped up. He really stepped up. And he's one of the first things he said out the gate was he embraced his shadow. He embraced his faults. That tells me how much your dad learned in this lifetime. So, he's a pinnacle of success of yourself and your family. And, if your brother's going through this and he's having this, like, let him. He's going through what he needs to go through. He hasn't healed that stuff with your mom. And you know what? I have a feeling once you stop talking to your mom, I have a feeling your family's going to fall suit. Because somebody needs to have that like moment. I didn't go off on my mom in front of anybody. The only fights I had with my mom happened in front of me and her, and one or two times in front of me, her, and my partner. But my family, like, they didn't see the arguments I had with my mom or the things that we had about religion and spirituality and all that, because they're not either. They're not religious or spiritual. So they just like, oh, mom and her God and her Jesus, you know what I mean? Like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And like me, I'm just the loop-de-loo cuckoo that's like believes in unicorns and fairies and all that kind of shit and, whatever. As long as it stays in books and movies, my family's fine. But if they have to look at anything that's a reality, they'll look at this false matrix reality that we've co-created. And most people know that are in the spiritual realm that we co-created the false reality because we didn't deal with our fucking shit when it happened. So we spun ourselves into this ball, but we did it for the progress of the universe. You know what I mean? Like, we can't just say, oh, some souls come from Earth and, like, you know what I mean? It's like, we're all over. I know, because when I'm astral traveling, or sometimes when I read for people, sometimes I'll be like, that's how I knew the nine. I didn't know who the fuck the nine were. I never even knew who the nine were. And then people are like, you talk to the nine. Nobody talks to the nine. The only people who talk to the nine are like gurus and like master teachers and master shamans and master, Reiki masters and shit like that. And I was like, oh, well, I talked to them. I've been talking to them. I'm like, I didn't know. You know what I mean? So it's just so funny. It's just so funny. But again, it's from somebody's level of consciousness. It's from people's level of consciousness. So they're like going to look at it from whatever they know and understand. And since they haven't been through all the things that I've been through, and I've been through what they've been through, that's where they're trying to have us as the light workers to hold space, right? Because they don't know. They don't understand. You can't make somebody understand something they don't understand. You can't. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? So, I've seen energies and entities when I'm astral traveling in my dream space, and when I'm working with clients one-on-one, or when I'm doing like picker readings where I'll be like, I don't even know what this is. I don't know how to describe it because I've never seen it before. And I'll be like, kind of like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man meets, like, you know what I mean? Like, where you're like, I don't know how to describe it. I've never seen this, not in a movie, not in, you know what I mean? And that's why, like, books and movies, they probably are those creatures. If you can think it, it's real. So you either created it just now in your mind, or it's something that you've seen, or maybe you were this blurby blob in like another planet, in another atmosphere, in another galaxy far, far away, So it's like, humans, I don't remember what it was, a movie or TV show where there was this race of aliens and they were hiding a human, and one of the aliens was like starting to like fall in love with the human, and they're like, oh, how can you, they're like, they're so gross, they're like, humans are so gross, they're like, I don't know how you get, I remember laughing so hard because I was just like, it probably is like that, right? Because like when we see movies and we're like, ew, they're so gross, or ew, that's where they eat in their poop hole, you know what I mean? But it's like somebody's magical mind created us to have 5 fingers and 5 toes, and that we walk upright, but like we could crawl on the ground. I mean, it's just like, we can go on and on and on about it, right? That we eat food and it tastes good, but it comes out shit, and all of our shit has like different colors, but why does it go through? You know what I mean? Like, you can really unpack so much. It's like, it can make you feel crazy. And a lot of people, they don't want to know that, right? They're just like, no, I just want to eat my gummy bears. I don't want to know that they have a color in them that's like killing my fucking intestines. Like, I don't know that I don't want to know that my M&Ms have a color, right? Like, certain things are illegal in other countries, but they're legal in ours. And then people are wondering like why we have cancer, so much cancer. And it's like, because they're killing us. We're paying them to kill us, and then we're paying them to heal us. It's like the most perverse, disgusting scam of history. And that's not just our country, it's everywhere. So comeuppance is coming. Hang in there, you guys. Every Sunday we will be here, and we will rise in numbers until we fucking take our earth back. That is the purpose of it, to bring it back to the way it was, of divine love, grace, and guidance. I love you so much. I'll see you next time. Take good care of yourselves and each other. Blessed be. Oh, bye. And bye, Alana. Thank you for being here. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. And thank you, Jessica, for being here from the beginning. All right. I'm outie. I will see you next time. Bye.